And now, introducing a man whose initials are GMC, so you can call him Trucker or something that rhymes with it. He's going to get you, sucker, so if you're Hulk Hogan, look out. He is Glenn Clark.
Good morning. It is Glenn Clark Radio, which would almost certainly make me Glenn Clark, and that would make him Paul Valley. And if that's the case, then I guess we party now? I'm not sure how it works. See, Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. Going to need a minute in order to get the Would You Rather Wednesday scenarios posted. I apologize. I had something thrown on me as I got in here this morning, but we will get them. I promise you. Brought to you by Glory Days Grill. Those will get up here shortly. Lots to do on the program today. In a little bit, we're going to head down to Bowie, make our weekly trip down there to chat with the Bay Sox. This week, we are going to chat with Gunnar Henderson. By the way, what did the Bay Sox score, like 1,000 runs last night? Holy crap.
They had 2 8-run innings.
That was a wild game for the Bay Sox last night. An offensive explosion last evening. We'll talk to Gunnar Henderson a little bit later on this morning. Also this morning, we're going to introduce you to Thomas Booker. I'm excited about this. Thomas Booker, who is a Stanford defensive lineman, probably a day 2 pick in the NFL draft. He's a Gilman alum. He's a Baltimore kid. He is like through and through from Ellicott City, very much one of us. He was part of the Chinese Honor Society when he was in high school. He's incredibly smart. We're going to chat with Thomas Booker ahead of next week's NFL draft. I'm not as excited. Drew Forrester will check in with us later on this morning, but it's part of the ceremony of what we do around here. So all that coming up on a Wednesday edition of GCR. Today's show brought to you by the Baltimore Police. Join a proud new generation of Baltimore Police and make an active difference in your community. Start with competitive wages and excellent benefits on day 1. Join for good at bpdrecruit.org. Orioles played a game last night out in Oakland. It didn't go their way. They lost 2-1. A lot of weird things. Does any of it matter? You know how I feel about this. That's something else. That's something else entirely. Paul Valley thinks everything matters when it comes to the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, not this.
That's why we allow him to try to convince us that something matters for 60 seconds every day. Here is our 1-minute man, Paul Valley.
All right. It's hard to even get me enthused about anything that happened last night. Chris Ellis went 4 1/3 innings, but he couldn't make it through the 5th inning, gave up a couple of base hits. Bellman comes in and gets a double play, which was nice. But I guess if you're taking anything from it, Trey Mancini had a couple of hits. His bat seems to be heating up, which is nice because somebody's bat needs to get hot in this lineup. The Orioles are averaging just about 2 runs per game, which is dead last in baseball. So I guess you can get excited about the bullpen is continuing to pitch well, except for Ballman's kind of blow up there in the 6th inning. And Chris Ellis is pitching well. Starting pitching's going well. They're just not getting deep into games, which we expected, but it's a little concerning moving forward because you really don't know that Spencer Watkins and Chris Ellis can get further into the games than they already have to this point. So I guess get excited about the starting pitching and the pitching as a whole, and Trey Mancini's bat heating up, and then everything else is basically what it is.
You didn't even, boy, I'm sorry for Mrs. Valley. You didn't even make it 1 minute today.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Last night was not a good game to get somebody to care about.
Hang on a second, though. This don't. If you're not gonna care, then we're in real trouble. We can't do this.
I care, but the things I care about are. We've talked about this before, where the things that I would get upset about, you don't want me telling you things that I'm upset about. You want me telling things that are going to get you to care.
If it matters, and one way or the other, it's not about being excited. It's that if it matters, try to convince me that it matters one way or the other. If
right.
There's reason to be angry about it, there's reason to be angry about it. I'm probably going to push back. I don't think there's very many reasons to be angry about it, but it doesn't have to be in a positive way.
The lack of ability to hit with runners in scoring position.
Yes, it ain't good.
The lack of ability to put runs on the board in general.
No, but again, that's where I say this is kind of what I expected. I expected the offense to be this inept. No, I did not expect it to be this inept. Now, as I said, and I did a hit with Jerry and Rita last night on the Fan, and I said, look, man, this is a lineup where a lot of guys are home run hitters, and we kind of have to wait that out in order to pass any sort of full judgment. It's still awfully early to be making definitive statements about anybody in this lineup. But I think what you worry about is that there has been kind of a correction, particularly for, say, Cedric Mullins, that you worry that Cedric Mullins isn't really the player that he was a year ago, which is fine because it's very difficult. If you're an annual 30-30 guy, you're one of the greatest players in baseball history. Cedric Mullins isn't likely to be that guy. But what is he? And that's the part that we got to figure out. And by the way, maybe he still is. Maybe that'll come. Weather gets warm. He'll go revert right back to being that guy. But that's an important question as the season goes on. Did Cedric Mullins, by virtue of an amazing season, solidify himself as being a centerpiece of this franchise moving forward, or did he have one amazing season and we don't really know? These are the types of things that do matter in the big picture for the Baltimore Orioles. Chris Ellis obviously does not. He's a 29-year-old who is getting another opportunity because you don't have anybody else. Whatever he does is irrelevant. It can't help you long-term in a rebuild. You can't get anything for him in a trade. There's nothing that Chris Ellis could do that would be meaningful for the Baltimore Orioles in any way. I mean,
does he still have rookie status?
I don't know. I couldn't tell. I mean, he's made a lot of. I want to say the last couple seasons he's made like 10 starts. I'd be very surprised if he still has rookie status. That being said, the Orioles having one of the top 5 ERAs as a staff in all of baseball, if you wanted to try to tell me that like this is where statistics are good, you want to tell me that matters, that on the whole that's something we need to talk about, we need to have a conversation about whether or not we can reconsider opinions about what this team has as far as pitching is concerned, or at least monitor it to perhaps reconsider it later down the road, I'll listen. I'll listen to that. Again, we got a long way to go. We're not anywhere close. Like, we got a long way to go to figure out if that's the case. But it's at least worth watching. It's at least worth filing away and saying, hey, this exists right now. Let's see where it goes from here. On the whole, yes, a dreadful game. What was the attendance last night in Oakland?
Like 3,895.
I've seen some small attendance figures.
I've never seen one that high for the Orioles.
I think that's got to be. I mean, I don't remember seeing a Tampa game where it was listed with less than 5,000. I'm not trying to be over dramatic about it, and I certainly can understand why the folks out that way are saying, yeah, why would we be spending our money on this? I don't know if you noticed they got rid of all of the good players. I'm not faulting them. They have an abysmal place to watch a baseball game. There is nothing there. They don't know if the team's going to be taken away from them at some point because nothing's getting done. But I do think that seeing something like that to me would have to force the issue of the conversation about the future of the Oakland Athletics. And I don't know what the timeline is, like how long Major League Baseball will give them to try to get something figured out there. But especially as you see more and more like Nashville pushing, I want to say Nashville's got Dave Stewart involved now and trying to create a minority. Like, there are places where they badly want baseball. And I'm not in favor of ripping a franchise out of a city. I hate that. I think that's gross. But if it's just not going to happen, if they're just not going to get the stadium deal done, what are you waiting for?
I mean, the owner is shedding payroll, and they've been needing a new stadium for, 20, 25 years?
Well, yeah, for an eternity, but it's still a weird spot. None of that is the fault of the average Athletics fan.
Right.
And the Athletics fans have proven that if you give them some, this is what I say all the time about, in Baltimore, the crowds don't look good. And then when the Orioles are good, the crowds are great. Mm-hmm. If you give them something that's worth it in Oakland, they've proven. There have been electric atmospheres at that dreadful stadium for watching games. I'm not the type that ever wants to overreact to the size of a crowd because it ain't my money, right? Like, I get it. It ain't a good product. It's a terrible place to watch a bad product. I completely understand why Athletics fans would choose to stay away. But there's a bigger problem that exists in Oakland, which is, are you doing this or not? Because if you're not ever going to solve this ballpark thing, there's nothing there. Like, there is nothing there to suggest that franchise should continue to exist. And I feel terrible for the people out there, but it's got to get solved at some point. I mean, it's crazy. We've been talking about this for way too long, with the stadium being the thing that hangs over them. It's nuts. But, they've taken the first 2 games from the Orioles in this series. They're awful. Nobody wants to watch them. They've been wrecked by COVID, and they've won the first 2 games against the Orioles. So keep that in mind as we have this conversation.
You don't need to stay up till 1 a.m. to watch tonight's game, though.
Yeah, they moved it up to 6 o'clock, right? Yeah. Because of weather that's expected to come through the Bay Area. So there's that. I, of course, spent my time watching the NBA playoffs last night. No, I don't want to kill myself at all. So I don't want to take anything away from the Pelicans. I know a lot of people talking last night about what a neat story. Brandon Ingram just went nuts in the second half of that game. And it's not wrong to give credit to the Pelicans and to say, wow, this is really neat, a team that was so bad that's managed to put some things together, get in through the play-in tournament, and now, look, they've stunned the Suns in Game 2, and they've now stolen away home court advantage. But, we're smarter than that. And a lot of people that are saying it are the same people, like the broadcasters were making that the story. The story in last night's game was Devin Booker. Devin Booker's the story. He was on pace for about 70 points and then didn't play in the second half. And if Devin Booker is hurt significantly, then the Phoenix Suns are in massive trouble. I mean, there's no way of getting around that. It would upend the entirety of the NBA playoffs. If he can come back and play in a game or two, there's nothing that I saw that would suggest, even as hot as the Pelicans were shooting in the second half and as nuts as they were playing, there's nothing that suggests that they could actually compete with a full-fledged Suns roster and win more than a game or two. Just knocked my sunglasses off the table. I don't even know what happened there.
He's fired up.
Yeah, I'm not really. And I don't. Sometimes we don't want facts to get in the way of a neat narrative, and like we wanted last night, the 8 seed just beat the 1 seed. It's the closest thing you can get to an upset in the NBA playoffs. You can't get a St. Peter's making a run to the Elite 8 in the NBA playoffs because it doesn't work like that. These are professional basketball players. There's only so many teams. But when even an 8 seed wins a game, it's a great story. But it's only a story because Devin Booker got hurt. And because, believe it or not, like everybody else, you're not the same team when you don't have your best player. But Glenn, the Mavericks just lost Luka Doncic and won a game anyway. You're right. You're right. It requires having somebody else that you don't expect to completely go off and do something otherworldly in order to be able to do it. We will have to find out. The Devin Booker, the injury, is going to be the singular storyline until we get definition on it of the entirety of the NBA playoffs. Because if Devin Booker is going to miss significant time, it's a hamstring, so I don't know. If he's going to miss significant time, the Suns can't overcome that. You can say, hey, they overcame losing Chris Paul last year for a while in the playoffs. It's not the same. Devin Booker is the guy. They can't overcome that. And they could even lose to the Pelicans in a 7-game series without Devin Booker. I'd still be surprised if they did. It took the Pelicans playing like perfect basketball in order to beat them last night, even without Devin Booker. I'd still be surprised if they lost the series, but they'd be in a world of trouble against just about anybody else without Devin Booker. They need to get Devin Booker back fairly quickly. And if they don't, then it rips this thing into almost a complete upheaval. I mean, like that makes the Warriors the overwhelming favorites, almost to the point where it would be like even money for the Warriors. There's just not. I mean, the Grizzlies are still good, and the Grizzlies certainly bounced back quite well last night. But you're hard pressed to sell me on the idea that the Grizzlies could compete with the Warriors, with a healthy, complete Warriors team for 7 games. So it's a major storyline. Like, this is what's hanging over the NBA at this moment, is exactly what the status of Devin Booker will be. If they get him back and he's fine, then the Suns go back to being the favorites to win the NBA title. It's just a weird thing where they happen to lose a game in the first round because they didn't have their guy for the second half of that game, and their opponent played brilliantly. It's weird tonight that all 3 games are in the Eastern Conference. I don't get that. I don't understand. What are we doing? Like, this is the NBA playoffs. Why can't we spread things out a little bit more? All 3 of the playoff games that are on the night are Eastern Conference games. Just very strange. And I feel even worse about my thought of cashing my Hawks series spread bet where I had them covering. I had them covering 2.5. And they looked better last night against the Heat, but they didn't look good. They still look like a mess. So that's what's going on in the NBA playoffs. I did have a couple people ask me like why I didn't talk about Miles Boykin yesterday. What would you want me to say? What is there to say about Miles Boykin? I've had very pleasant interactions with Miles Boykin. I think he's a very good guy. He was trying to do a lot of things during the pandemic to help raise some money. I like Miles Boykin, but as a football player, he was a blocker. And the Ravens, like if you want to, if your take on Miles Boykin is that you're afraid in 3 years that some team is going to get him to do the Darren Waller thing and he's going to figure it out as a tight end down the road, okay, I'd bet against it, but is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. I wouldn't have bet that Darren Waller would have become this, but he did. I guess it could happen. I guess it could happen again. I don't know if Miles Boykin would have ever gone along with that. I don't know if the Ravens even considered it. I don't know if they would look at you and say, yeah, he doesn't even have that type of skill set. That's insane. Miles Boykin didn't work here, and it's a bummer because he was big, he could block, he was exactly what it was that you were looking for in a Ravens wide receiver in a run-first offense as a prospect was concerned. It just didn't translate, and some injury issues threw in that. What were the Ravens supposed to do? People are like, it's weird that you would do this now, just outright release him now. But they tried to trade him. Nobody wanted him. Like, they attempted to trade Miles Boykin, and everybody said, you want us to give something up for this guy? No. Not a chance. So to say, could they have just held on to him for the sake of holding on to him in case they have 5 wide receivers get hurt? Yeah, but I think what they're telling you is they don't feel any more strongly about Miles Boykin than they would about anyone they could pick up off the street tomorrow. And I'm not trying to trash Miles Boykin because, again, I thought he was a good dude. But there's nothing to say. I don't care at all that Miles Boykin was picked up by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I couldn't care less.
I mean, why would anyone care? It's not even interesting to me. I see that. Well, this is interesting. No, it's not. Teams pick up 65th roster players all the time. And I bet they're going to try to pump some information out of him. Yeah, they might. They absolutely might. No doubt. Maybe they'll try to pump some information out of him. At the end of the day, they still have Mitchell Trubisky as their quarterback. How do you think that's going to work?
They need a wide receiver that can block so they can run the ball more.
I mean, whatever. I mean, it's a giant whatever. And I hate, because it just comes off so negative towards a person, but come on, man. Like, come on. Are we really going to spend time talking about Miles Boykin? It didn't work. It's a shame. It's certainly wasted draft capital. I mean, there's no getting around that. There's no defending it. There's no going back and saying it was a wasted draft pick early in a draft. And that's a bummer. And that's the type of thing that you can't have happen as you try to continue to build a team moving towards this era where you're likely to have to pay your quarterback a boatload of money. You can't have more wasted early round picks. You got to be hitting on those. But what do you do now? Like, it's just what it is. All right. It's time for us to make our weekly trip down to Bowie, where they're scoring like 1 billion runs these days. They just had 2 different 8-run innings last night. Joining us now, one of the top infield prospects in the Orioles system. It's a pleasure to welcome back to the program, Gunnar Henderson, who's with us now here on GCR. Gunnar, it's Glenn and Paul back in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you again, man. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us.
Yes, sir. Happy to be here.
It's great to chat with you, dude. What was in the water last night? What the hell was going on down there?
Well, first off, it was pretty cold, but luckily we got the bats warmed up last night, so made it a little bit more bearable. But it's been pretty chilly the past few games, so I think everybody's ready for it to warm up here.
Yeah, get the ball carrying out a little bit for sure. I can understand that, man. Do you like when you're having a night like that, the conversation among fans, hey, save some for another night. Does anybody say that? Like when you guys are putting up a 20 spot, like does anybody walk around like, hey man, save a couple for tomorrow night?
No, sir. Baseball's a weird sport, so you can have streaks where you go like that, and then you have streaks where you can't, where you feel like you've never swung a bat before. So you take it whenever you're feeling it. So I feel like that's the right way to go about it.
Now it was a weird night for you because you were one of only two guys that didn't get a hit, but you had 3 walks. So does anybody, like, on a night where everybody's getting hits, do they rag on you about the fact that you didn't get one, or do they know, hey man, you were on base literally? If you keep this on base percentage up, it's going to be the greatest performance in baseball history. Like, what's the atmosphere when you have a weird night like that?
Yeah, I mean it's funny being able to watch the guys, especially when they put the position player in. You just see we reeled off 2 or 3 homers in a row, and you just got to keep the mood light because, I mean, like I said, baseball's the weirdest sport. You're going to have days like that where everybody's hitting, and you're going to have days where you get hits and everybody's like, how in the world are you hitting this guy? So, I mean, that's just baseball. So
I hope what you're not saying is that you're worried that you guys are going to put up like you're going to get no hit tonight. I hope that's not what you're saying.
No, I'm just, you know what I mean. So baseball is just, it's the most humbling sport out there.
No question about it. Hey Gunnar, take me through. Let's get caught up with you. How was your off season? How are you feeling coming into this year as you've continued to progress? In general, where do you feel about where you are now, a couple years into this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the work I put in this off season is really paying off. I was working a lot on just flattening out the swing a little bit, and I felt like it's helped out. And now just having to tinker around because it's starting to get pitched backwards in a sense, so a lot more off speed. So especially being my age at this high level, just really learning each and every day. And I feel like I'm putting really good swings on the ball, hitting it really hard right now, just right at people. So I know it's going to come around. So like I said, just learning each and every day. And I feel like the stuff that I'm picking up here at AA is really going to help me whenever, hopefully AAA and hopefully the majors soon.
Is it at all difficult just because it's the beginning of the season? Like, do you find yourself pressing at all when you're dealing with bad luck just because you have to look at the totality of what your numbers are? Are you able to completely compartmentalize that and be like, look, man, I know I'm doing the right things. I'm just not quite getting the results just yet.
Yeah, no, like I said, I mean, I'm still 20 at AA, so there's really no reason to be pressing at all because I can just go up there and not have any pressure at all. Just go up there and let my instincts and all the playing that I've done over the past however many years of baseball, just let them take over, and the numbers ultimately level out at the end of the year. So.
Gunnar Henderson is with us after the Bowie Bay Sox put up a huge number last night. The Bay Sox are home all week. We're going to tell you more about what's coming up for them during the course of the week. Gunnar, I think the other conversation you and I have had a couple times is position-wise. I know you've played both third and short this year. How can you take me through working at both positions, right? Like, and again, as you mentioned, you're still very young. Is it difficult trying to learn every aspect of both positions and play both well at the very same time?
Honestly, I mean, it really, because we practiced it during spring training and stuff, so it wasn't really much. And last year helped me as well to get the game reps. So going into this year, I knew how to approach each position, and I felt like so far this year, I mean, I've done a really good job at both positions. So, and speaking, like, we both really, like, all the infielders here at Bowie, I mean, we embrace it, and I mean, we just take it head on, and whichever gets us to the big leagues faster, I mean, we'll do it
You
in a
you,
heartbeat.
you I almost maybe even accidentally you just started to say both of us, and I was guessing you were kind of thinking about Jordan, correct?
Well, I meant I
Yeah,
meant
yeah.
me, Joey, and
Sh-
Westberg. Like, well, they have us all just switching around. So
sure, sure.
yeah, we all just kind of embrace it and know that that's what it calls for because we're all shortstops, so we can't all play it at the same time. So
Does it create like? Tell me about that dynamic, right? Like, is there the shortstop position is sort of the one that everybody wants, right? Like that's the big money ticket. Does it create something that drives the three of you? What's your relationship like as you're all kind of the same position doing this same thing? What's that dynamic been like with you and
yeah,
Jordan Westbrook and Joey Ortiz?
yeah. I mean, we all want to see each other do the best we possibly can because all in all, we all want to win a World Series with the Orioles. So we all help each other, and it's like a friendly competition. So whichever way it works out, the only person that knows that is the man above. So, um, I mean, the only thing we can do is control what we can control and play hard each and every night. So whatever works out will ultimately work out.
Gunnar, what are the biggest differences? What are the like you have to remind yourself when you go out there to play short one night versus going out there to play third? Is it muscle memory? Do you don't even have to talk about it at all? Are there things that you're like, hey, gotta remember I don't move this way when a ball gets hit a certain like do you have to go through some of that playing a different position?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just muscle memory because definitely the practice that you put in. I mean, if you take game like reps at both positions in practice, then it really just you go out there and just be yourself during the game.
He is Gunnar Henderson from the Bowie Bay Sox. He's with us here on Glenn Clark Radio. Gunnar, we talk about this organization and all of you guys. Is there a camaraderie? You talk about wanting to be a part of a World Series winner in Baltimore. Do you guys have those conversations openly about the opportunities that exist within this system and growing together? Are those things that you discuss sort of openly?
I think it's all mutually known. I mean, everybody knows that we have a really good shot at it, and everybody just does their own work. I mean, we don't sit there and talk about it because nothing's set in stone. Because I mean, you can talk about it all you want, but until you put the work in and actually accomplish it, that's when it matters. So we all have that mindset to where nothing is set. So we, like I said, go into each day with it on our mindset of get better each and every day and just take care of one day at a time. So I feel like if we keep doing that, then we'll have a really good shot.
You moved into last year. You moved into the top 100 prospects on MLB Pipeline, and more, I'll have conversations. As you can imagine, Gunnar, we talk a lot about the future of what's coming here in Baltimore, and I'll talk to more and more guys that bring up your name and say you're a big part of the story here. How do you handle that type of attention? As you mentioned, you're still really young. How do you handle that type of attention, that type of acknowledgement that comes throughout this sport? How do you make sure that doesn't get you carried away, and maybe some of the pressure that comes with that type of attention?
Yeah, I mean, just growing up, my parents really instilled the mindset of never forget where you came from and always staying humble. So, like you said, I mean, I never thought about it. I always just go out there and I'm my own best teacher right now because I compete against myself, and then of course with Jordan and Joey, we all just have the same mindset, just go to work each and every day. But I feel like I really just go in and get the work in, and whatever works out. And like you said, it all doesn't matter until you actually prove it. So I have that in the back of my mind, just going each and every day and trying to get 1% better.
Does that competition extend beyond baseball? By the way, like the three, I'm like imagining like a group of three brothers, right? That like when you always maybe you're racing to get to something. Does that competition at all go beyond baseball? Do you find yourself like trying to play basketball against each other, or trying to beat each other on the golf course or anything like that?
Well, we have taken it to the golf course a few times. That's
Okay.
where Jordan and I that's where we'll spend time together. But Joey's not much of a golfer, so
So all right, so
Well,
how does that look like? Is it back and forth? Is one of you been like kind of regularly dominating the other one on the golf course?
well, Jordan just picked up golf during this past off season, so and I've played it for a few years, so he's definitely improving a lot. But I feel like I got him right now, so years to come we'll see. But I feel like right now I've got him.
All right. We'll that. I mean, it is one of those things where like you root for him. Do you find yourself saying like I'm rooting for you to get better? Or you like encourage him on a shot, but like selfishly you say to yourself, oh man, he might really get better. I might be in trouble here in a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean he in everything he does, he just progresses and gets better each and every time. So I know he'll get better, and he'll continue to get better. So I got to keep getting better as well. So.
Hey man, it's the way it goes. All right, important question. Tomorrow is Woof Wednesday with the Bowie Bay Sox, where everybody can bring their dog out to the ballpark, which is one of my favorite promotions in baseball. Gunnar, are you a dog guy? Like, did you have one growing up? I imagine it's probably difficult at this point in your life to have a dog, but does like your family still have a dog?
Oh yes, sir. We have two dogs.
Okay,
back home.
tell me about your dogs.
Well, we have a family dog which I kind of claim as mine, but it's a German short hair named Root. And then my little brother Cade, he has a treating feist. It's a squirrel dog named Chica.
I don't even know what is that?
It's a squirrel dog. So she has mainly just hunt squirrels. So,
Oh, got it. That's what you
yeah,
meant by.
yeah.
I thought you meant like it looked like a squirrel. I'm
You're
like,
not the
what the
first
hell kind
person
of
to think
dog?
that. Yeah.
I'm like, what kind of dog looks like a squirrel? I've never heard of it. All right, that makes way more sense.
Yeah. No, you're not the first person to think that.
By the way, the German short hair thing, we found out yesterday that Grayson's got a German short hair. And by the way, if I made you guess, do you happen to know what Grayson's dog's name is?
I'm pretty sure I've heard it, and I'm about 90% sure it's Ace.
Yes, it is, which is my favorite thing. Now, he claims it's because of Ace Ventura, but do you believe him? I think it's got to be more like that man knows that he's an ace, and so his dog has to be named Ace.
Oh man, yeah, that's what he told me. Was he named it off Ace Ventura? But
I don't know. I think that's just a good story to tell people so you don't come off as cocky. Like, I think we all know what the real story is. I think we all know. And I love it, by the way. I was throwing air high fives. I'm like, the man named his dog Ace. That's perfect. That's so perfect. All right. As I mentioned, Woof Wednesday coming up tomorrow night with the Bowie Bay, or tonight. Sorry, I can't keep saying it tomorrow night. It's tonight with the Bowie Bay Sox because today is Wednesday. Also this week, mystery bobblehead giveaway on Friday night, fireworks on Saturday night, as well as Wizards and Wands night, and a halfway to Halloween celebration. Get more information and get your tickets by going to baysox.com. And if Woof Wednesday wasn't enough, Sunday is also Bark in the Park Day, so 2 opportunities for you to bring your pups out to baseball games this week. And Bark in the Park Day also includes a lot of activities and vendors related to your dogs, so it's going to be a fun celebration for you to bring the pups out. Gunnar, social media for you, Twitter, Instagram, where is it that Orioles fans been giving you a follow?
on both, I have Instagram and Twitter. So
I just want to make sure I want to make sure I have the handles right for him. For Twitter, it's at @G_Henderson2, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's how you give him a follow. And if you want to give him a follow on Instagram, I'll make sure I have this right as well. It's is it at G? Oh man, I don't even remember which one of these is you, Gunnar. I apologize. At G_Henderson002, correct?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Give him a follow there. Hey, Gunnar Henderson, man, great to catch up with you. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us. Continued success to you. May you guys score 20 runs every night the rest of the season until you're all the way up here at the big league level, all right?
That would be great.
Love it, man. Thank you, Gunnar.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Gunnar Henderson, Orioles shortstop, infield prospect, if you want to say, obviously, as we talk about. He is kind of competing with Jordan Westberg and with Joey Ortiz at the same level at the same time as they're trying to get all of them time at short to figure out if one of them can establish themselves as sort of the shortstop prospect of the future. And we'll have to continue to monitor that. Nobody has separated themselves just yet in that battle, and that might continue all the way to the big league level, that ongoing competition. For what it's worth, the Orioles don't really have,
anybody blocking them?
No, not only – well, I mean, look, who knows if Mateo can continue to become a guy, but it's not just that they don't have anybody blocking him. They also don't really have, a second baseman of the future.
Right.
In this system. They don't really have an identified third baseman either. So
Kobe Mayo.
Okay, if
People are
he
pretty
can,
high on him around baseball.
I guess the question, because I think they're higher on his bat than they are on him as a defender. So I think there's a question as to whether or not Kobe Mayo will continue to be a third baseman. Could he? Absolutely. I don't know that it's considered a sure thing that Kobe Mayo. I think people are. I just think the general consensus, they're more confident that he's a major league hitter than they are that he's a major league third baseman.
Yeah, he's got a on a 20/80 scale.
Yeah.
He's got a 70 grade arm. So I imagine that he could go play first base, but I imagine you want to have him someplace where he can utilize that.
The arm makes. I would also see if I don't know if at some point. I have not watched Kobe Mayo personally at all, right? So it might very well be that Kobe Mayo has been looking outstanding with the glove.
That's what Eric Garfield said. He said he looked much better at third base this spring.
That would make a huge difference in him projecting to be the third baseman, because you can always take a strong arm and use that in the corner in a corner outfield spot. You can always make someone with a strong arm, particularly a right fielder.
Right.
You have to be able to defend the position. That's the bigger issue. So, but even so, that's not between these guys and the major league level, right? That's lower than these guys in the major league level. So oddly, there could be room for all of them to figure out a way to be a part of this thing.
Right.
They all are thought of to be at least capable defenders. They're all thought of to be guys that could play the position. None of these guys are thought of to be Ryan Mountcastle. None of them are thought to have Ryan Mountcastle's or even Kobe Mayo's bat either. Gunnar Henderson probably the one that everybody was highest on as far as the bat was concerned of this group. That's got to continue. He was ripping the cover off the ball at Delmarva. Did not produce quite the same way at Aberdeen and is off to a bit of a slow start. Not awful.
He's about 260.
Yeah, he's off, but it's a bit of a slow start.
Jordan Westberg's bat has played at every level. I've been really excited to see.
What's he hitting right now?
He's hitting about 290.
Yeah,
his bat's played at and he went deep last night. He's hit at every level.
The weird part being, again, that Jordan Westberg was thought of as like an okay bat, but more of a surefire guy that could play the position when he came in.
I think they probably believed enough in this bat. They took him as a supplemental first-round pick.
Again, when I say that, I'm not saying that they don't think. I think they believe that his bat could get there,
right?
But not thought of as a high-level type of bat.
Yeah, he's not. They don't think of his bat the same way they think of like a Colton Cowser's.
Right, something along those lines.
But they do think he could be a 20-homer guy in the major leagues, which is nice.
And if he can play the position and do that, he's going to be in the major leagues for a while, if you can do that. But, we're still a ways away from that.
Yeah.
All right, today's show is also brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. If you missed it on Monday, Stan had a couple of shows for you. He caught up with former Orioles pitcher. He and Ross Grimsley caught up with former Orioles pitcher Steve Johnson. Then he had a conversation with Maryland Stadium Authority Chairman Tom Kelso about HB 896 and what it means for the downtown stadiums. You can find that right now by going to facebook.com/PressBoxSports, clicking on the videos tab, or go to pressboxonline.com/video. I just sent you a reworked first break. Did you get that?
I did.
All right, good. I have to be honest with you guys. I had something thrown on me this morning. We're running a little bit behind. I got to get Would You Rather Wednesday posted. I'm taking things one at a time at the moment. I apologize for that. I'm excited to chat with Thomas Booker. That's coming up here in just a bit. Baltimore native, perhaps a future Baltimore Raven. We'll talk more about that with him when he joins us. It is a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new FanDuel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. This is your chance to win big right in your own backyard. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks and watch all of the action from the best seat in the house. Make every moment more at the all-new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
The biggest pro wrestling stars today and all time all have one thing in common. You've heard them on Jobbing Out.
Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks.
Thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it.
The great Kurt Angle.
Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Matt Riddle.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man.
The champ, Drew McIntyre.
Oh, thank you for having me.
The great Ron Simmons.
Damn.
Keith Lee.
Appreciate you guys having me, man.
Bill Goldberg.
My pleasure.
Charlotte.
Thank you so much for having me.
Mick Foley is with us.
This is the greatest name for a wrestling show I've ever heard.
MJF.
I'm glad you're happy I'm on this show because I'm freaking miserable.
Le
champion.
Chris Jericho.
Le champion.
AJ, Aaron, Brandon, and Glenn are talking pro wrestling every week on Jobbing Out. Find it at PressBoxOnline.com/radio, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
Answering Baltimore's calls for help, running in when others run away, working together toward one shared vision for a thriving city. That's your Baltimore Police. But the department needs more good people. People like you. Join a proud new generation of Baltimore Police and make an active difference in your community. Start with competitive wages and excellent benefits on day one. Join for good at bpdrecruit.org.
Stan the Fan here, welcoming back one of my favorite sponsors, the Costas Inn. And everybody around Baltimore knows the Costas Inn is a great place to go and grab crabs, steaks, salads, soups, whatever's on your mind to eat in person. But did you know that the Costas Inn has upped their game? They are now one of the premier takeout places in Baltimore. Give them a call now to order your food, 410-477-1975. That's the Costas Inn over 4100 North Point Boulevard.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Luke Jackson profiles Orioles catcher Adley Rutschman, diving into where his passion for baseball and for catching comes from and how he uses that passion to elevate those around him in the Orioles organization. Also inside, Bo Smolka takes a look at how the Ravens' 2021 draft picks can make progress in year two, and Glenn Clark offers a very unique tribute to former rival Mike Krzyzewski that all Maryland fans can appreciate. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Stay tuned. Your chance to win $1 million is coming up. Probably not from us. You're listening to Glenn Clark Radio.
Hey, don't forget the NFL chicks, Sarita Hubbard and I, are going to be back at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel coming up next Thursday night for the first round of the NFL Draft. We want you to come join us. It is the best live betting event of the year. You can literally go to the 61 self-service kiosks and bet every pick in the draft. Oh, man. It's just you keep turning around. You miss one, so what? Go try the next one. Miss that one, go try the next one. Miss that one, maybe you take a few off. Maybe you settle down a little bit, enjoy a Patron margarita tree or four, and then reconsider as the night goes on. It's just the best live betting night of the year, and we're going to have great giveaways for you. We want to see you in the FanDuel Sportsbook. Don't forget, they've got the fight for you Saturday night, Fury White. If you want to be there, make sure you reserve your spot. Reserve a table for you and your friends, or reserve those reclining chairs throughout the FanDuel Sportsbook and Sports and Social in Live Casino and Hotel by emailing events@sportssocialmd.com. I had a bit of a rough evening last night because of the Phoenix Suns, because I was not aware that Devin Booker wasn't going to play in the second half. Wasn't great. So I was in a bad mood after the game ended, as you'd imagine I would be. And I said, I want to get a little bit of that money back. And I did. By betting, this is not a joke, by putting in some live bets on Ukrainian ping pong. That is a straight shoot. That is a straight shoot. I do this sometimes when I'm just frustrated. I'm like, I bet when I was frustrated about losing a little bit on the Suns game. So I wanted some back. I bet that the Orioles wouldn't score a run in the 9th inning. So I did well with that. They should make more of those bets available. Although, how funny is it that Aaron Oster hit on his first inning run bet last night? He hit on it because the Orioles scored for the first time all season. Scored a run in the first
I
inning.
thought it had to be Oakland that scored in the first
No,
inning.
it's either team. It's
Okay.
It's the prop is either team scores in the first inning.
Okay.
Like, that's the prop, and they put it out there for basically every game. It's a first inning run. And if either team scores in the first inning, you hit on the prop. And the concept is that, you know, these are your best hitters, and so this is your best chance maybe to score a run during the course of the game. And the Orioles, who hadn't scored an effing first inning run all year, scored their only run last night in the first inning. That guy's got a horseshoe up his ass. So I was frustrated. So I said, I'm going to throw a couple bucks on the Orioles not scoring a run in the 9th inning, because when the basketball game ended, that was the last bet that was available for the Orioles game. And then I threw some money on the Dodgers were down 3-1, so I just threw a couple of bucks on the Braves money line there. So it didn't get me a lot back, but you know, any little bit helps when you lose some money because you don't know Devin Booker's getting hurt. But then I wanted a little more back, and so I bet on I believe it was Las Vegas, whoever the Las Vegas AAA team was playing last night. They were going to. I have a rule: whenever a game goes to the bottom of the 9th inning and it's tied, I have a rule that I bet on the home team. And it doesn't work every time, but it's the advantage play. They know what the team ahead of them did, and so they can make a decision based on that. So, like, if a team ahead of them decided to bunt and purposely score a run in the top of an extra inning, they can choose to play for the one run just to keep things going. There is an advantage that comes now with being – there really is an advantage. There's always been an advantage being the home team in an extra inning game, just based on the fact that you know what the other team has done and what you need to do. That doesn't guarantee that you're going to do it, but there's an advantage to that. There's, I think, a heightened advantage in the new extra inning rules because you know what your strategy should be. If they play for one run, then you should play to make sure you get that one run. If they don't play for the one run in the top of the inning, then, you know, that's okay. Like, you want to go up and swing for the sake of swinging, then you can do that. Like, you can use their strategy to try to figure out how it is you're going to go about doing your business. So I have a rule that when games get to the bottom of the 9th and they're tied, I bet on the home team. Now, I don't normally do that on AAA games, but it was what was available to me last night when I was frustrated, so I did that. And then I hit that, so I was 3 for 3 and making money up last night. Again, not a lot, but I wanted a little more. And the only thing that was available to bet that was live was some sort of Ukrainian ping pong tournament. So I just watched each match, and whoever won the first set, I just bet that player, and I won 5. Now, again, not because the odds weren't great. They were like minus 500 or something because they had already lost. They already won the first set, and apparently it's best 3 out of 5. I didn't know that about ping pong. I learned something last night.
Well, it's like that with tennis, too, isn't it?
Only at the Grand Slam tournaments. The rest of the tournaments, and only men's Grand Slam tournaments. The rest of them are best out of 3.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I was chasing the dragon a little bit last night after the Devin Booker situation cost me in the Suns game, which is a real bummer because I had hit on the Grizzlies last night. I was having a good night, man. I was feeling confident about the Suns. They look great, and then wet farts. Just wet fart noises.
He'll get some K-tape put on that hamstring and get back.
I'd like to hope it ends up being that way. Gonna have to do a little bit better than that for the NFL draft. Come hang out with Rita and I for the NFL draft. We will be there 1 week from Thursday night in the FanDuel Sportsbook. From Tom. Tom says, Glenn, did you see the Ravens website picked up on your column? And I feel like they missed out on the part. Yeah, you know what, Tom? I'll pick this up where you left off. Yes, I did. So always appreciate my buddy Kevin Eck, who actually used to work here at Pressbox. One of my favorite people, of course, used to be a writer for the WWE. Was heavy involved in WWE years ago. Love Kevin. Was at the Sun for a long time. Great dude. One of my buddies. Kevin, I don't know how many days a week writes their late for work column at the Baltimore Ravens website, and included the column that I wrote on Monday about things that I'm in favor of the Ravens doing in the draft. And a couple of people were responding to it because they didn't read my column. They just only read the part that Kevin responded to in his column. And it left out the part where I acknowledged that Sauce Gardner would have to fall down to like the territory of 9 or 10 in order for the Ravens to even be able to trade up for him. I don't think it's like the price that the people are like, you really think you can move up to get Sauce Gardner and only have to trade a 3rd and a 4th round pick? If he falls to a certain point, yes. I get it. You don't think he's going to fall to that certain point. I believe I saw Mel Kiper in his most recent mock draft has Sauce Gardner going number 2 overall. If that's the case, Ravens ain't moving up to get Sauce Gardner. It ain't happening. But there are other mock drafts that have had Sauce Gardner, just based on the nature of whether or not the quarterbacks go, falling to the territory of 9. And at 9, it becomes a bit more practical to talk about the price point difference, if you use the old Jimmy Johnson trade chart thought, of getting up. It's like 500 points that you have to make up. So obviously you're trading them whoever it is, you're trading them the 14th pick. So the difference between 14 and 9, I don't have it up here. For the sake of conversation, I'm so far behind today. For the sake of conversation, I'll pull up the trade chart. The 2022, this is from drafttech.com. So I don't know if this is Bible or not. I don't know if this is agreed upon by all teams, but this is just generally based on how things have gone, what the point value is associated with certain picks. And right now, I'll use the number 9 spot, the Seahawks pick. That spot is valued at 1,350 points. The Ravens' 14th pick is valued at 1,100 points. That's a difference of only 250 points. So if you go to the 3rd round, where the Ravens have 2 picks, the 76th overall pick is valued at 210 points. In the 4th round, where the Ravens have 5 picks, the 119th pick is valued at 56 points. So a 3rd and a 4th with the number 14 point-wise, and again, not everybody agrees upon this. This is just a general thought, a guideline, if you will, would make that trade work for you to get up to number 9 if Sauce Gardner were to fall to there. Now, your response might be, hey, if Sauce Gardner falls to number 9, aren't you a little bit concerned about why? Okay, yes. I'm not privy to all the information that everybody else has, but it could just be that these other teams don't prioritize cornerbacks. And especially if there's a team that really wants an edge rusher and takes Jermaine Johnson a bit early. Let's say the Giants take Jermaine Johnson. By the way, this is going to come up again in Would You Rather Wednesday here in a minute. But if the Giants take Jermaine Johnson at 7, and all of a sudden the top cornerback just happens to be sitting there, I am in favor of the Ravens considering it. That doesn't mean they have to do it. That doesn't mean that it would be shameful if they didn't do it. I'm just saying I'm in favor of them doing it, and there's a scenario where they could do it without having to pay an overwhelming price in order to make it happen. But if he's going number 2 overall, they're not going to move ahead. They're not going to be trading with the Jaguars to get the number 1 overall pick. And there are people that believe that Sauce Gardner really is one of the 2 or 3 best prospects in the entirety of this draft. But it's a weird year for the draft because there are people that are saying that about a number of players. It's just not a year where there has been a true... Aiden Hutchinson is believed to be a top 3 player in this draft across the board. Everybody believes that. Trayvon Walker suddenly is coming off as that guy. But I have talked to people that say, I think Trayvon Walker is a borderline first-round talent. It's a weird year. It's just a weird year for the NFL draft. And it's why it is that you hear from people, this is a good year for the Ravens to have so many 4th-round picks. The argument has been made that because of the nature of the pandemic, there were some players that maybe would have otherwise came out, but because they didn't have the same season in 2020, they didn't put as much on tape, they ended up sticking around for an extra year, and that's created an unbalance in talent where there is a deeper overall draft this year than there was a year ago, so having later picks is more beneficial. And I'm not even trying to debate whether or not that's true. That might very well be true. But my response would be, you're still not going to find the draft where the 4th round was the better place to be making picks than the 1st round was. That has never happened and will never happen. Which doesn't mean there have been a couple of gross first rounds over the years. There have been some that you look back on, you're like, but the idea that you're better off making 5 picks in the 4th round than getting a top guy, it's just not, I can't join you there. Could it happen to work out? The guy that you take in the 1st round doesn't pan out and that multiple 4th round picks end up being really good players? Of course. But playing the percentages, stop. We're just trying to prove how smart we are. We're so smart, we know it's better to be in the 4th round. Stop it. I believe you're smart. You're very pretty. Your family's very proud of you. And if the Ravens end up making 5 4th-round picks, I hope they all turn into being really good football players. But the idea that you're better having a ton of 4th-round picks than you are using those picks to move up and get better, more well-thought-of football players is just not something you're ever going to get me to agree with you about.
I'm convinced on 2 things. I'm convinced, A, that the 1st-round pick is Jordan Davis. But the size and
I'd be
athleticism,
thrilled. I'm not convinced of it at all, but I like Jordan Davis a ton, so I'd be very happy about that.
And I also am convinced that they're going to trade a couple of those 4th and 3rd-round draft picks and try and get a second-round pick. Now, whether that means they go after David Ajabo with that second-round pick.
I don't know. Could they? Yeah, of course they absolutely could, but it requires, one, there to be another team that's desirous of having these 4th-round picks. Yeah. And let's just say, most people seem to think that Ajabo wouldn't get all the way to the Ravens in the 2nd round. Well, let's talk about it. So the Ravens are sitting at 45 in round 2.
Mm-hmm. Talking about this guy going 40 picks or 30 picks below where he was expected to because of the injury.
So, which could end up having him drop to around 45, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, for example, they want to get back in around the 52nd pick. That's considered to have a 380-point value. You would have to package your 2nd, 3rd round picks only worth 100 points. You're gonna have a really hard time doing that without giving up your 1st, 3rd round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if what you're talking about is getting a bonus player, because I am still in favor of considering David Ajabo. I'm absolutely still in favor of that. And yes, to your point, if you want to sort of cushion that blow by it not being your only 2nd-round pick, that you come away with 2 first 2-round picks this year and David Ajabo, which is this just kind of bonus, that makes you feel better than if David Ajabo's the 2nd player. Like you only have 1 top 2-round pick that can play this year, and then you're waiting on the other one.
Right.
So you can cushion the blow by adding an additional 2nd-round pick. I'm listening. I'm listening to that argument. I'm listening to anything. I'm just not enamored by the idea of making 5 4th-round picks.
Right.
That does not.
And I don't think the Ravens are going to do it.
I disagree with. We just saw them do it a few years ago. I'm not saying I'm not telling you they will, but the idea that they definitely won't, that's nuts. Yeah. We literally saw them do it. I'm
not saying definitely. I just don't think they are. It's just my opinion. I don't think they are.
Yeah, I have no idea. There's so much that can happen during the course of the draft. I couldn't possibly tell you. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's almost an amount of hubris where they're like, no, we think we can find really good football players in the 4th round. As I said, the last time we did this, what you have to show for it is Tavon Young.
Who's no longer here.
Who's no longer here, correct. Who was a nice player for a little while, but for the 5 picks that you made, what you got out of those 5 picks was Tavon Young. And very minimally anything else. So, admittedly, that weighs on me. Even as people try to sell me on the 4th round this year, it's better than most years. Okay. I'm weighed on the fact that all of the draft analysts, all of these types, were raving about what the Ravens did in the 4th round 5 years ago. I want to say it was McShay who said it was the greatest round in the history of any draft ever.
They rave about what the Ravens do every year.
Which is part of the problem, admittedly. That's part of the issue. But this is where we just want to show how smart we are. We know about these guys and you don't. So we're telling you the talent's there. I'm not saying that you can't find talented players in the 4th round. I believe you can. But I'd rather get the guys that everybody seems to think are high picks in the draft. I'd rather have one more of those guys than 3 fourth-rounders. All right, hour number 1 of today's program is winding down. It has also been brought to you by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Make the most out of every day in a Toyota RAV4, available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today. So I want to introduce you guys to Thomas Booker. As I do that, because we had to have this conversation a little bit earlier, I'm going to promise that I'm going to get you Would You Rather Wednesday posted at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter and Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. So why don't we hang out with Thomas Booker, Baltimore native, NFL draft pick next week, and then we'll reconvene. We'll play a little Would You Rather Wednesday. Sound good? Good. Here's Thomas Booker. Well, we are just over 1 week away from the NFL draft, and we've been meeting a lot of the guys who are going to make up this class, but this is one that I've been looking forward to a while because he is very much one of our own. And he, of course, is a native of Ellicott City. He went to Gilman and had a hell of a career at Stanford. He's a defensive lineman and someone who I think would make a lot of sense for the Baltimore Ravens, but nobody asked me. He is Thomas Booker, and he's with us now here on GCR. Thomas, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
And great to be here. I've been super excited to get to talk to you the entire week.
Dude, you are a really impressive human being, my friend.
Thank you.
I was digging in on you. How did the Chinese Honor Society come about? A lot of dudes do a lot of things. I have not talked to a lot of people that were part of the Chinese Honor Society over the years.
Yeah, so interesting story about that. I actually took that my freshman and sophomore year at Gilman. That was one of the only classes that they let us take at our surrounding girls' school. So I took it at Roland Park Country School for about 2 years. If you're from Baltimore, you know the whole private school deal.
Yep.
So I took that for 2 years. I enjoyed it. And the funny thing is, I also took Spanish. But I'm not the one with the language gene in my family, actually. I'm going to do a little humble brag on my sister. She just actually got married this past weekend. But she actually is fluent in both Mandarin and Spanish. Yeah, so the reason why I even picked Chinese was because she's 10 years older than me. So we actually took a trip out to China while she was in an immersion program and came to see her. She could only speak Chinese the entire time. So I might have the Honor Society, but she's got the fluency badge. So I'm going to give her that.
Okay, so like how much could you say, I'm trying to think of something. Could you in Chinese say, I can't wait to hear my name called next week?
So unfortunately, it's been about 6 years since I took that class.
All right.
And right now, I just remember how to say my mother and my father, Woda Baba and Woda Mama.
Wow.
That's what I know how to say currently.
Bro.
Spanish, I could give you a little bit more.
Okay.
But yeah, no, my sister's definitely the one that got the language gene. I try to do my best.
How much pressure? Like I was looking through, not just your sister, your entire family, like everybody's gone to Ivy League schools or Duke or, places like that. How much pressure did you feel growing up? Like, man, I got to live up to a really incredible standard here.
Yeah, no, it was an incredible standard set for sure, but there was never any kind of like negative pressure. It was all kind of just, everybody in my family are competitors. They enjoy being the best at what they do, whether that's academically or athletically. And we push each other to greatness in a positive way. It's not a tear down or extreme pressure. So, I felt like I had a lot of resources afforded to me as a kid. So I just had to use them to the best of my ability, So naturally, like that led me to some pretty cool places. But you're right. I had a lot to live up to for sure. So I'm glad that they set an incredible example from an early age for me.
You're doing all right with that. You're doing okay.
Trying to.
Your father was a football player.
Yes.
Did you always know growing up that it was a path that you wanted to take, or were you almost trying to avoid it a little bit? Like how did football work with you in your life given his background?
Yeah, so I played a bunch of sports when as I was growing up. My first sport was actually tennis. Because my dad's first sport was actually tennis as well.
Really?
Yeah. So he played outside linebacker at the University of Wisconsin in like the mid to early 80s. So, he was like a 6'2", 230-pound dude moving across the tennis court with a racket. So that was definitely a different sight to see. But for me, like it was kind of just a natural progression. I went from tennis to baseball to basketball. And part of the reason why I didn't play football until middle school was because my parents didn't want me playing with kids that were like 2 and 3 years older than me because I weighed a lot.
Okay.
So until I could get to the age where I could play in unlimited leagues, they kind of helped me out. So I started playing in 6th grade, and it kind of just took off from there. And I think my dad knew from a very early age that I was going to grow a football body. So he's like, basketball, all those other sports are cool, but we know where the end game is, and that's what it ended up being.
What did you weigh in at the combine, by the way?
301.
301, and you're 6'4", right?
Yep, 6'4", 301.
So
yes,
that's
sir.
a football body.
It seems like
right. That qualifies.
Projections are right.
Yeah, 100%. It'd be really hard at 6'4", 300 pounds to move on a basketball court. Like it would just be really tough.
Yeah, a little bit. That's a real tweener right there. You got the height of the point guard, but the size of like Shaq. So
the age of the Charles Barkleys is kind of over in the NBA, unfortunately.
Nah, that's the truth. I mean, for me, I was big on I like being able to be in the paint and everything, but also come out and like lock up a guard from the perimeter. That was what I love. Like the fact that I'm much bigger than you, but I'm still staying with you. Like that was a big ego boost for me. So I think that's where I got some of my quick feet from.
He is Thomas Booker. He's with us here on Glenn Clark Radio. Thomas, do you remember a moment that made you fall in love with football? Do you remember a game or an interaction with somebody or anything like that where you were like, oh no, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm all about?
Yeah, so I played tight end really early in my career. So I was really always a tight end, defensive end, going through like middle school and into high school. And I remember like in 6th grade when I scored my first touchdown playing tight end, and just the feeling of going up and getting the ball and like the exhilaration that you feel when you score and your teammates coming to embrace you and all that. That was my first memory. It was muddy outside. It was rainy. It was classic Maryland weather.
Yeah.
And classic Maryland.
Yeah, and it was probably 90 degrees the next day, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can't rely on what it's going to be day to day. But that was my first memory. But there have been so many other ones, from high school. Gilman McDonald football game, the 100th game. Yep. I had one of my favorite touchdowns I ever had was at Gilman. I forget the team that we were playing against. I'm rolling out to the sideline. I catch the ball one-handed. I toe tap to stay in bounds. The dudes that were right next to me thought I was out of bounds because I was too big to stay in, and I just ran it right down into the end zone. I still have a clip of that on my huddle.
Awesome.
So if you want to go look it up and see, it's on tape.
That's cool.
But there have been so many moments offensively and defensively. Had one at Gilman where I came through. I was being read on like a read option, and I got into the backfield so quick that I tackled both the running back and the quarterback same time.
That is the coolest play. I've only seen that a couple times in my life, right? Like there was a guy that plays, Antoine Perez was a safety at Maryland years ago, and he had a play like that along the side. It's oh my God, it's the coolest play in all of football, right?
Nah, you feel like the man after you come out to that. You're like, okay, you couldn't even read me. Like I was too fast for you to read. Yeah.
Oh, that's so dope. Oh, that's so cool, man. That is awesome. You mentioned obviously your time. Were you and I say this knowing you're about to have a new favorite football team, and I understand I know the politics of all of this.
Yeah.
Did you grow up as a Ravens fan? Were you a football fan? Did you go to games? Was that the way that your family operated, or was it more like I hate hearing about how many Cowboys fans there were that lived in our area?
No. So when I was young, actually, I was a big Brady fan. I was a big Patriots fan.
Ooh.
And I remember I had a really traumatic day, that Super Bowl where their perfect season got ruined by the Giants. Yeah, I remember having my Brady jersey on and I was in tears. I've always been a big competitor in whatever I do, whether it's a sport or whether it's like Monopoly or Scrabble. So seeing my guys go out like that in the last possible game was tough. And then I kind of migrated back to my roots as a Baltimore Ravens fan. And, I have everybody's jersey. I got Ed Reed's number 20 jersey. I got Haloti Ngata's jersey, Terrell Suggs, Lamar now, so.
Did you get chances to meet any of these guys over the years? Did you?
Shoot, I'm trying to think. No, I have not. I don't think so.
Okay.
But, yeah, so it's actually funny. My parents, they got to go to one of the Super Bowls, and they got to go to one of the parties. And they were, meeting, Gronkowski. And my mom, she has no idea who these people are. So she's sending me pictures who is this? I'm like, Mom, Like, come on.
It's
Like,
kind of a big deal. Like, that's might be
right,
somebody
kind
you
of a
should
big
know,
deal.
right?
Yeah, he's definitely an undoubtedly top 3 tight end ever. So
Yeah, correct.
hopefully you know who that is.
Were
But yeah.
you a Ravens fan again in time to be on the right side of root? So I'm thinking the AFC Championship game.
Yes.
So you were rooting for the Ravens at that point. You were
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I had made my transition. I had matured.
We'll take it.
I had gotten back to my roots. Yeah.
Now, of course, obviously, you get drafted by the Patriots next week. You're a Patriots fan again.
Correct.
And you always were, frankly.
Correct. So it works either which way. It's an interesting pairing to have the Patriots first and the Ravens, but
it happens. We'll give you a pass for that, especially if you end up back in Baltimore. Thomas Booker with us here on GCR. Thomas, you mentioned you were a tight end. Was there a point at which you knew, like, D-line is the spot for me? And I asked that because I want to ask a little bit more about the fit. And I know the answer is, hey, whatever a coach says they want me to do, that's what I'm going to do. But is there a particular spot that you say, I think at the next level I could be a dominant, nose tackle, or I could be a dominant, like, do you have a spot that you say that's the spot that I think I could dominate at?
Yeah, so to answer your question first about, like, I played tight end and defensive end throughout, middle school and high school. Kind of when did I realize the defense was it for me? I realized, so I had a conversation with my dad. My dad obviously played defense. He played outside linebacker. And he always used to talk to me about, like, the hammer and nail relationship of offense and defense, right? Defense was always going to be the hammer, and offense was always going to be the nail. And you had to decide which one you wanted to be. And it became pretty clear to me playing football that I wanted to be the hammer and not the nail.
Yeah.
And I think also for me, like, offense is great, like when you have the ball in your hand, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know, it's just different. Like, defense is so much more aggressive. It's where you get to let the athleticism just go. It's not as kind of like calculated and everything. It is to an extent, but at the end of the day, you need to put somebody in the ground every single play, right? So I appreciated that about defense.
There's something really fun about that. Yeah.
Yes. And just the violence of it, on a play-to-play basis, and the way the defenses have to play together, and the bond that you have with your brothers, where you guys are all reacting to a play that you don't know and finding out a way to make it work every single time. So that's definitely what I would say. And then on the kind of positional point, I played a lot of positions at Stanford. I played from 0 technique and some of our nickel stuff to 5 technique and some of our other things like pass rush. And I think for me, the couple of positions that I think I could really succeed at, I think one of my biggest points and strengths in this draft process is my scheme versatility. So I think in the 3-4, I'd be a great, end, 4 technique, 5 technique. And in a 4-3, the 3 technique, 2-eye, I think those are really, really good spots for me.
Okay.
And I've shown all of it on tape. So I think I've got some versatility, but if I had to pick, 4-3, being a defensive tackle, 3 technique, 2-eye, and 3-4 being an end at a 4 or 5.
All right. I like that, man. Thomas Booker with us here on GCR. It's funny listening to you. You remind me a lot. There's another Gilman guy. I don't know if you know Brandon Copeland at all. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So just listening to you, because I remember talking to him when he was at this point and this stage of his, and obviously what an amazing run he has had, continuing from undrafted all the way to this point in his life. And I remember thinking, like, you have your S together so much more than the average person that I talk to at this stage in their life, right? Like, and I say that because I wonder, when you talk about the violence of it, you're such a smart person. Do you reconcile it all, like that violence, and what a violent game, what it does to a brain, right? Like, is it difficult at all for you? Are you the type of person that's already thought about post-football type of stuff and what your life is going to look like? And how do you reconcile all of those things, Thomas?
Yeah, no, there's definitely kind of a duality towards it. But the way I look at it is, like, I'm a pretty, like, measured and reserved dude. When you talk to me, like, day to day, like, I do get riled up, but I keep it in the frame, right?
Yeah.
Football is kind of my one place where I don't have to keep it.
You let it out, yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone needs their outlet. The people who are extremely loud and whatever, they need their quiet time, right? The people who are the other way need the opposite. So football is kind of that outlet for all that, like, pure aggression and violence that I don't get to do in the day to day that wouldn't be acceptable. But yeah, no, from a post-football sense, the reason why I went to Stanford, partially, obviously the intellectual brutality moniker, the way that they play with their front seven, that was something I was attracted to. But I was also attracted to the prestige of the university, the fact that it was so close to Silicon Valley, right? I'm very interested in technology, probably more from the business side.
Okay.
So that's why I got my economics degree, is because it's a degree that allows you to think, in a large scale sense about, market problems and stuff. So that gives you a lot of different venues and lanes to go into. So right now, obviously, I'm focused on this career because this is what I want to do for as long as I can. But I know that, you know, the connections that I made at Stanford and the skills that I've learned and, you know, the way that I've learned how to learn and how to adapt to different things is going to help me in whatever kind of role or lane that I try to go into, you know, post football.
That's awesome, man. That is incredible to hear. All right. Do you ever allow yourself to dream about, like, putting the purple? I know you had a visit with the Ravens. And again, knowing whatever it's going to be, if it's Seattle, you're going to be the most excited you're ever going to be in your life. But do you allow yourself to dream about, like, what that feeling would be for it to be here and them and your family and everybody being here? Have you allowed yourself to even just have a moment to think about that possibility?
I think it's inevitable, you know, obviously being like a hometown kid to think about putting on that purple and black and gold. So, I mean, the same way that when I got to Stanford, like what used to happen to me is like I got to Stanford and we do like our team run or something regular. And I would look down and I'd see like an S on my pants. Like I got right now, I have a Stanford Pro Day shirt on, right? And it was just surreal for me because it was something I'd wanted to do for so long and I was doing it. So I feel like the exact same thing would happen to like the nth degree, you know, with any NFL team, but specifically like the hometown guys, you know, just seeing the storied history of that franchise and the fact that you're doing this in front of, you know, people that have seen you grow your entire life and have helped you grow, you know, that would be, I don't even understand how to describe it. It wouldn't even be surreal. It would be unreal, honestly.
I mean, you wore their jerseys. Like you had somebody else, some other kid's going to put your jersey on. Oh man, it's intense. It's really intense.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like I saw that kind of progression at Gilman too. You know, I was at Gilman for 13 years, so I was there from you know preschool to you know I became a senior. And one of the big traditions at Gilman is like when we're playing the Gilman McDonough game, the football players, the seniors, they have some of the little kids and they walk them up to the stage before they do the big pep rally. So I went from being walked to being the person walking.
Wow.
You know, so seeing that kind of progression is kind of similar.
That is really powerful, man. That is a really powerful thing. The thing that you want to do for somebody the first time, and I don't know, maybe you got a little NIL money this year. I don't know, but like have you had an opportunity to do something, or have you thought about something that you want to do for somebody, either in your family or somebody here that mattered a lot to you on your path to getting to this point?
I haven't gotten too much time to think about it, but honestly, so I went back to my high school actually after I got to visit with the Ravens because it was right on the way back. So just getting to get back into my high school and talk to some of the kids there and talk to some of the teachers and just in general, like the community that I have back there, that's definitely something that I want to do. Because I think there's a lot of like gems that I could potentially give people to help them in their process. And the biggest one that I had and that helped me was that you never really have to compromise anything, really. So for me, like when I came to Gilman, my parents sent me to Gilman so I could become everything, right? I could become the scholar, the athlete, the person in the community. I could develop myself socially, right? And I think a lot of the time people are pressured by whatever force to go into one lane, to become an athlete, to become an academician, anything like that. So my big thing was just like, you know, you can be a jack of all trades. There's nothing keeping you from that. You know, the limitations are either external or internal. And as long as you get rid of them, you can see yourself do a lot of different things in a lot of different lanes.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Right. Anybody that would be particularly worked up if it's Pittsburgh? Is there anybody in your life that, like, admittedly would say, dude, I'm happy for you, but there is no chance in hell I'm putting on one of those jerseys when I come to see you play?
You know, there probably are a lot of people that are like that. I don't know if they'd actually tell me that to my face.
Okay, right.
But there might be some people like that in my life.
Secretly would ask you for tickets and then show up and like definitely be wearing purple anyway.
Correct.
They'd be happy for you.
That might happen. That might happen. That might happen.
Thomas, social media. Where can people in this area be giving you a follow as you continue on this journey?
Yeah, so for sure on Twitter, it's pretty easy. At the Thomas Booker on Twitter. I just wanted Thomas Booker to be noticed, but they didn't have it available, so I had to go with the B, which is annoying, but it is what it is.
You know, it's if you had, unfortunately, you don't have one of those. Like I'm Glenn Clark, so I know a thing or two about this, right? Like, there's a few other people that share the same name. It's just the way that it goes, unfortunately.
Yeah. So on Twitter, at the Thomas Booker, and then on Instagram, it's tbooksiv, TBOOKSIV. At Instagram. So yeah, those are the two that I usually am on.
Thomas, we are really thrilled for you, brother, and we can't wait to see how this plays out for you. My God, what a story it would be if it was Baltimore, but wherever it is, we will root for you. Again, we won't promise if it's the Steelers, we ain't rooting for them, but we'll root for you. All right? We'll root for you and your success, and you make a lot of people proud with everything that you've already accomplished, and no doubt what's coming for you as this moves on. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning, man, and best of luck as we move towards next week, all right?
Man, thank you so much for having me. This is a fantastic interview. Wishing you the best of luck.
Yeah, it's Thomas Booker, remarkable human being, and someone who could very well be in play for the Baltimore Ravens during the course of the NFL draft. Likely a night 2 selection. Appreciate him taking the time for us here this morning on GCR. I was hoping that I'd be able to hold up for you. The reason I've been waiting on telling you about today being the new print issue of Press Box, I was hoping someone would bring one into me and I could wave it up there and be like, hey, look at this beautiful new print issue of Press Box. I can't do that. So I want you to imagine with me what it might look like. All right? You go to your neighborhood Royal Farms today, you pick it up. There it is, immaculately, beaming from a newsstand. A glorious photo of one Adley Rutschman, the catcher of the future for the Baltimore Orioles. And there's this incredible cover story, and you're enthralled reading about it from Luke Jackson. You can't put it down. It's talking about where his passion for baseball came from, his passion for catching, and how infectious it's been on the entire Orioles organization. It's like when Ralphie's teacher read his thesis and Ralphie's dream. You immediately stand up. You say, bravo! Bravo! That's what it would be like. And I would show you that, but I can't. I guess I could probably... I don't know if I could pull up what the cover looks like here on the old computer, on the old computer machine, and let's take a look at it that way. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's the image. You can kind of see what it looks like. Hang on. Oh, you can flip through. You can flip through the issue. I don't know if that translates. There's the cover of the new print issue of Press Box. Can people see that or no?
Yes, and it's beautiful.
There it is. It's beautiful. They're real, and they're spectacular. It's Adley Rutschman on the cover of the new print issue of Press Box, which is available today at your neighborhood Royal Farms, any of those hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. Or you can read it all right now, even before I have mine. You can read it at PressBoxOnline.com. I promise it's coming. So I always say on New Press Box Day, if you stop by and it's not there, just come back on your way home. It'll be there. Stan and crew are out taking the new print issue of Press Box all over town. And a really great cover story from Luke Jackson about the Orioles' centerpiece of this entire process, Adley Rutschman, which is available. Speaking of available, Would You Rather Wednesday is now available at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio. And Drew Forrester is going to join us in just a minute so we can talk about it. Let's talk about it. Get your responses in. Somebody's winning a $25 gift card to Glory Days Grill. All you got to do is participate. Again, Facebook.com/Glenn Clark Radio, at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. Just respond to any or all of the Would You Rather Wednesday scenarios, and you will be registered to win a $25 gift card to Glory Days Grill. We'll talk to Drew next. It is Glenn Clark Radio.
Sports fans, the wait is over. The all-new FanDuel Sportsbook is now open at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover, Maryland. This is your chance to win big right in your own backyard. Bet on every sport with self-service kiosks and watch all of the action from the best seat in the house. Make every moment more at the all-new FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit mdgamblinghelp.org.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Baseball is back, and so is the spring seasonal menu at Glory Days Grill. Start with the opener, flash-fried pork belly with our popular Korean No. 2 sauce, and take a bite out of the Crunch Burger, topped with home run sauce, white American cheese, and house-made chips. It also features irresistible options like a baseball-cut sirloin with blue cheese, grilled shrimp with garlic butter, and a strawberry salmon salad. And then there's the closer, the Cracker Jack sundae with a waffle, ice cream, and Cracker Jack. snacks. This menu will be going, gone at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. GloryDaysGrill.com to find out more. Great food, good sports.
Baseball is back. I'm Paul Valley.
And I'm Zach Goodman.
You can find us live every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon talking all things Orioles and Major League Baseball.
Like the debuts of Adley Rutschman and Grayson Rodriguez.
And how the rotation and bullpen are rounding into form. Watch us live at youtube.com/PressBoxOnline and Facebook.com/PressBoxSports.
Or you can listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio.
That's the Bat Around, live with the latest in baseball coverage every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a wide range of models and trim lines. You can choose the perfect Toyota to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
If you miss anything, don't forget that you can find whole shows later on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon Podcasts. It's Clark Radio.
That wasn't the button.
I don't know why I did that.
That was a different button altogether that you didn't mean to hit. All right, back in here on GCR. It is a Wednesday edition of the program. Chris wanted to know how I feel about Kevin Willard's first commit. Yeah, I didn't really talk about that at all yesterday. I actually have been in touch with Noah Batchelor. He might join us this week. Noah Batchelor from Hagerstown is the first official commit that Kevin Willard has landed at the University of Maryland. 3-star prospect. He's been playing down at the IMG Academy in Florida. Nothing overwhelming about his game necessarily, but what I would say is that, 6'6", guy that can shoot, comes off as a helpful piece. And I think it is important to get one to sort of start the process. If you were expecting Kevin Willard to suddenly have the floodgates open and in the first couple of months land every top prospect available, then you weren't being reasonable. This is the problem when you step into a program that's been irrelevant for so long. You have to prove there's something there in order to pick up on recruiting. And again, you still don't even have a basketball facility yet, although we do know that it's coming. So it's still a difficult thing to do. And as a couple people pointed out, frankly, Maryland's a little bit behind of other schools in terms of NIL and what's available. And when we say that, I think Maryland's got a great program for trying to help kids get plugged in with NIL opportunities, but they don't have the same group of boosters that are basically willing to put kids on payroll immediately that other schools do. So there's just a bunch of things that leave Maryland slightly behind as Kevin Willard starts this process. And we have to be reasonable about that. If you're pretending like Kevin Willard was going to be able to come in on day one, get all of the best kids just because you're fired up about a new coach having a good press conference, you've lost your mind. It doesn't work that way.
But I want it to work that way.
I love that. It'd be wonderful. Don't get me wrong, Paul. I, too, would like that. But this is the constant thing that we all do where we want our dessert before our dinner. Like, we don't want to have to eat our vegetables. We just want our dessert. In this case, with a new coach, eating your vegetables typically ends up being a tough couple of years. It ends up being, and I know that Iowa State maybe screwed that up for us because we saw a program a year ago that had been woeful. I mean, was one of the worst programs in the country the previous year, and then turned around and made a run into the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Which isn't to say that can't be done at Maryland, but it's not practical. It's not practical to think that this is suddenly going to be that program. The good news, if you're looking for good news, the good news is that there wasn't a mass exodus of players. That, to me, is the Kevin Willard victory in the early going. That his arrival wasn't greeted with a quick announcement from everyone that was on the roster that they were departing. The players that have left, you're kind of not all that. Qudus Wahab, it didn't work here. And I'm not sure that it's going to work at the highest level for Wahab. I mean, we'll see. Marcus Dockery, come on, man. Like, the guy was barely a player here. So the fact that the guys that you would want to have stick around to this point are apparently sticking around, and there's still obviously time for them to change their minds, but you would think that if it was about the coach himself, they would have already done that. They would have already decided to move forward. That, to me, would be what you register as a win for Kevin Willard. And with a huge assist from Danny Manning, that he kind of kept the boat afloat throughout the course of the season and kept positive feelings within the core, the nucleus of this group. So that the guys like, Juju Reese, the guys like Hakeem Hart didn't end up choosing to leave as soon as the season was over, or as soon as the new coach was announced, or as soon as they had the first opportunity to meet or work with the new coach. That is the victory, if you're looking for one early on, from Kevin Willard. It's that the guys that are still there, the important ones anyway, and I know it's a small group that we're talking about, but the Dante Scotts, the Hakeem Harts, the Juju Reeses have decided to stick it out. Now they got to build a roster, and they got a lot of work to do in building a roster, and it probably ain't going to be pretty next season. Just got to be realistic about that. That doesn't mean they're going to be woeful, but if we're being realistic, it's not likely that they're going to be very good. If you thought this was going to just line up and knock down 5-star recruits, that's not practical. Kevin Willard has to go prove that he can do something, and if that's the case, then more of those guys will start coming in the coming years. The good news about Kevin Willard is he's thought of as a coach that can get a bit more out of the Noah Bachelors of the world. His track record is that someone shows up as like a decent prospect and turns into a really good college basketball player. Hopefully that continues for him. But yeah, he did land his first recruit this week in Hagerstown's Noah Bachelor. All right, it is Wednesday, and for whatever reason, we continue to play this game. He is our friend Drew Forrester, drewsmorningdish.com, and the host of Fairways and Greens every Sunday, 12 o'clock on 105.7 The Fan. What's going on, pal? How are you?
I'm good. I'm on a bus in Williamsburg. It's going to get loud in a minute because 12 high school golfers are getting ready to get on the bus.
Hey, wait a second. What are you doing down there? The heck's going on?
Spring break.
So what? You just went down to Williamsburg for the day? What's the story?
Yep. That's what we did. Well, no, we're here till Saturday.
Okay, so are you competing? Or are you just there hanging?
No, we just brought the team down. We do it every year.
What do you do?
So I'm going to get off the bus for a second while they get on, so that my assistant coach can tell them to be quiet.
All right. What do you do in Williamsburg? Are you
You
down?
play golf.
So you just hang out and play golf for a few days?
Yeah, for 4 days.
Why Williamsburg?
Close but far enough away that it feels like you're going somewhere. A good deal at this time of year.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not. I like Williamsburg, by the way. I went to a bed and breakfast there last fall. It was lovely. It's a lovely little
awesome.
town. Yeah, right. Unfortunately, the Chef's Kitchen is closed. I got bad news for you. Chef's Kitchen is closed, so you won't be able to make it out. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Apparently, the guy passed away, which is very sad. But it's a bummer.
As long as it wasn't the Asian Kitchen in Owings Mills.
Well, no, that one. I assure you, I believe you managed to keep them in business for at least an additional whatever the amount of money.
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing something on the radio. Be quiet, please. Go ahead.
Oh, boy, listen to Drew.
Well, if I don't say that, they're going to just keep yelling. So.
How many kids are on this trip?
10 of them are in the bus with me.
10 of them are in the bus with you. All right.
Yeah.
Where are the other two?
Yeah, that's a fair.
In another vehicle.
Oh, wait. Wait, a police car? What's going on with the camera?
Not yet. Not yet. We just got here.
What are the rules for a trip like this, by the way? Like, are you doing door checks every night? Like, how does this work?
Yeah, 11 o'clock.
Okay, you don't do the bit where you put tape over the doors, and then if the tape, like...
No.
Okay, you don't do that bit?
No, we don't. Not yet, but that's not a bad idea.
They did that bit at Perry Hall High School. I promise you that.
Well, there's a difference. Perry Hall High School was a bunch of hooligans. These kids are not... They're not quite hooligans.
Okay, right, yeah. You're yelling at them 20 seconds ago. They're not hooligans.
Right. Well, I'm not yelling at them. I'm directing them.
Oh, okay. You're coaching them, if you will. Is what
correct.
Perry Hall High School had some
kid
kid running down the
are?
halls yelling pork and beans or Frank's and beans.
That was me. Yeah, correct.
Right.
Are they quiet now? Really? Was that enough? Is
They
all
are.
it took? Oh, okay.
That's all it takes.
Look at you.
That's it.
Hey,
the first day, they're on their best behavior still.
So what's going on with you and John? You and John Little Rock are fighting. What's going on
John's
there?
insane. John might be, if he got checked, certifiably insane. He said, "What a brilliant display of football." No one calls it football in this country but him. He's the only person.
He's not the only person that calls it football.
He's the only person that's sane. I mean, there are no sane people that call it football.
Stop. Now you're just saying things. Did you really get into hang on a second. Did you really pick a fight with John in Little Rock on the internet? Because what is going on in your life? Like, what is? Hang on a second. Stop.
What a brilliant display of football.
No, I gotta flip this switch. This definitely says way more about you.
No.
You were sitting around one day.
What a brilliant display of football.
You're on a trip.
Trying to sound like he's English.
You're on a trip.
It's a brilliant display of football.
In Williamsburg.
Why didn't he just say lad?
Wait a second. Stop. You're in Williamsburg on a golf trip, and you took
time
I
wasn't when he tweeted that.
Oh,
I was actually at breakfast, I think.
You were at breakfast.
But anyway.
But where were you? Wait a
What a
second.
brilliant display.
Were you out with somebody else? Were you out with other human beings?
What a brilliant display of football, lad.
I want to make it very clear. You say a lot of stupid things on Twitter. You say so many but I only respond to like 1 out of every 1,000 that you dumb things that you say on Twitter.
What a brilliant display of football,
You
lad.
went out of your way to pick a fight with John about him saying the word football on Twitter.
Did he spell it with a double O or with the U?
No,
he spelled it with 2 O's.
This is called soccer.
What is wrong with you?
What a brilliant display of football, lads.
Is this who you're going to be?
Do you guys want to go get a pint?
Yeah, right. Is this who you're going to be for the rest of your life? Are you going to be the guy?
No,
that
just with him.
Oh, just with John.
him.
Just with John. All right. Are you
just
still?
With him.
All right. That's fair. I'll deal
Look,
with
you want to go get a pint?
You're so worked up about it.
Oh man.
You're so worked up about it. All right. What do you care about? What's going on in your world?
I don't know. Nothing really. I mean, the baseball team's done. So, I mean
come on.
That didn't take long.
They were done before they started.
How many touchdowns will Boykin catch against us this year?
None. Come on.
3?
We're not going to pretend like Miles Boykin's a player, are we?
But he's definitely going to catch a touchdown against us.
That requires him
He might only have 3, but he'll get. But one of them will be against us.
It requires him having to make the roster, though, in order to do that.
You know, and I know right now he's catching one against us.
Because he can block and play special teams.
That wasn't enough to keep him on the Ravens roster.
He was here for 4 years before, 3 years before they got rid of him.
Maybe
He'll make the Steelers roster.
Maybe he'll make the Steelers.
No, he's going to make he'll make their team. He'll catch a touchdown against us.
He probably will.
I mean, you definitely know that.
So what? So he does. Now what do we do?
It's like when we traded Paul Kitson, and he came back when he played against us with the force.
It's exactly.
And I said, take it easy on us tonight. Right. He said, that's not going to happen. And then he scored 3 goals. And then he scored 3 goals against us.
I've heard that comparison from a lot of people. By the way, it's what everybody's talking about in town. Is the
actually, Paul Kitson was much better at what he did than Miles Boykin was at what he did, or does, since he's still active.
Oh God! So you God, what were we fighting about yet? Oh, we were fighting about the Canada thing, right? That you're
those insane people up there.
Right, because it's definitely not. It's not
Geddy
at all
Lee
on.
Should be ashamed.
Yeah.
Geddy Lee should renounce his citizenship.
It's definitely not at all on the guys that, for no reason at all, are choosing to not get vaccinated. There's definitely no obligation.
It would have been a year ago. This is 2022 now.
So,
hopefully we've graduated from that.
Well, I'd like to hope that too. I'm not. I don't believe it or not. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not exactly sure where we are. But this is what because I did have somebody else ask me about this legitimately.
I used to like Canada.
You're on one today. What did you have for breakfast? What did you have exactly?
Like 5 cups of coffee because I got 1 hour.
No doubt.
1 hour of sleep.
So
because we left at 5:30.
I had someone say, do you really actually think that the rule should be in place? And I don't know. My gut is probably not. My gut is at this point we should be past that, but it's not my believe it or not, they're not calling me to ask me what my opinion is on the subject. But I had somebody present this argument to me, which was it's less about it's more about a functional society. Like, we're not going to reward you for choosing not to be a part of a functional society. You don't want to get vaccinated, that's your business. We're not going to force you to. But the idea that you get to have the rewards, it's not going to come that way. And I don't really have a problem with that either, to be completely honest with you.
As long as you think you're right when you say functional society.
I mean, like the things that we all got to do in order to be able to like go out and have lives and get the economy started again.
I think what we should do is no one should go anywhere anymore.
Well, I mean, we tried that for a little while. I'm not sure if you're aware. We tried.
You
that.
just stay where you are.
Didn't
watch
go
football.
So great. I saw this.
Watch football, lads.
Hang on. This morning, Jeremy retweeted. Oh, this was good. Hang on a second. Jeremy retweeted. There's a headline in the New York Post this morning, and it's a very attractive young woman. She's lovely, and the headline says, "I make $148,000 a year fulfilling the darkest fantasies of married men." And my response was, "Well, where does she take the kids for the weekend, and how does she get them to make more John Wick movies so quickly?" Like, my fantasies are not what I think this young lady believes they are. My
148 grand, huh?
Hey man, it's good work if you can get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you thinking
The
about
cash?
you thinking about signing up for OnlyFans? You thinking about starting to pay?
Is that cash?
I don't know. I don't know if the
Are you
staff at
claiming any
Calvert
of
Hall
that,
would be
or-
okay with it. What are we doing today? Why are we even doing this?
I don't know. I'll see you Sunday, though.
That's right. You'll be.
I'm excited to lead you in on Sunday.
Yeah,
the
please.
Rita Hubbard show featuring occasional input from Glenn Clark.
If you better I know that damn well.
What
Like the best.
what are you calling the show? I have not heard yet.
It's a bit. We're calling it Glenn and Rita, Rita and Glenn, because whenever I say what the name of the show is, I'm going to say Rita and Glenn, and whenever she says what it is, it's going to be Glenn and Rita. So
Gotcha.
it's a bit that we're going to do for a little while until we the idea being we want to let her in it. Everybody's going to hate it. We want to keep going with it long enough for it to come back around and people get a chuckle out of it. That's the concept of the bit.
Well, from what I've heard, very little of her and a lot of you. Likelihood is she's going to carry most of it.
Well, she better. What the hell am I doing?
Yeah, right. I mean, what are you doing? Right.
No, they give you an
Well,
hour.
I'll lead you guys in very successfully on Sunday.
Yeah,
we
but
got a big show on
will
Sunday.
anybody still be listening at 1 o'clock?
They better be. I got a bunch of good guests on Sunday.
Well, what do you have? What's coming up on Fairways and Greens?
I got Rex Hoggard.
I like Rex.
I've got a guy named Ryan French who runs the Monday Q Info Twitter account, which is very popular in the world of golf.
Sure.
So yeah, we got some cool stuff. It's for the sophisticated golfer, not for
Is
you.
it? What is this goofy tournament that they play this weekend in New Orleans? What is that?
It's actually pretty cool. It's a two-man event year, but it's a legitimate event. Two-man. You play better ball and alternate shot, and it's a real tournament, real money.
But like, is it possible for somebody to play like crap and still win this tournament because the other guy was so good?
No.
Okay.
No. If your partner doesn't play any good, you're X.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But somebody could play brilliantly well and not win. Like somebody could have the best weekend of their life playing golf and not win the tournament.
Yeah. That could happen.
That doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. Now, why this? Were golf fans asking for this?
Yeah, and I think after the Masters and after Hilton Head, there was a little bit of a sort of a audible breath of like, and they wanted something that was a little more fun. And I think the players like this. It's a good break for them. They're in New Orleans. They bring their family. I think they like it.
Okay, if you say so.
And it was kind of a player-driven event.
I will tell you, I was in New Orleans the weekend of this event one year, and it was like every Uber I got into, they were like, going out to the golf tournament? Like it was a big deal down there.
Yeah, no, it is. I would say that the tour needs more of these things. Like,
to something that makes it
be
stand
even a
out.
bad idea if they did a four-man team thing for a week. Like they need more of this. People don't really care what the format is. They just want to watch these guys play golf.
Well, but the idea being that make the tournament stand out from just being this week's tournament at Milwaukee or whatever.
Correct. And it's not that different than that Premier Golf League project that they were talking about where these guys formed teams. The problem is they just didn't have the players to do it.
Did you watch the Greg Norman thing last night?
I did.
Everybody's mad that they didn't talk at all about like this currently, but was it still worth?
Yeah, but I would think this has been in the works for a while. They got him to go there on site is kind of remarkable because I figured that was a ghost he did not want to visit again.
So he went back to Augusta.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
That's like sending Bill Buckner back to first base and saying, "Hey, Bill, we're going to hit you a grounder."
So I was young at that point. I think I had forgotten that like it happened. It didn't drag out really over the course of the day. It was over pretty quickly during the course of the round.
Yeah, I mean, he started off okay, and Faldo made a couple birdies, and it was 6, and then it was 4, and everybody was still giggling and laughing. Then it was 2 going to the back, and then he hit it in the water, and nobody was laughing anymore. And when he hit it in the water at 16, like into the middle of the pond, that was a death march. The last 45 minutes.
Man. And then what was the famous line from Faldo afterwards? What did he say?
Don't let the bastards get you
Don't
down.
let the bastards get you down. I think Rihanna stole that in a song.
Because of you media people, right?
Yeah, because of you media people. That's what it is. All right, what the hell? We got nothing else to do. Let's play Would You Rather Wednesday. We got
hurry up,
we're not going
we're here
anywhere.
in Ford's Colony.
All right, number one, Would You Rather? The Orioles, of course, currently their pitching is historically good.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
But the lineup stinks.
Right.
Would you rather it continue this way the rest of the season, or at some point this week it flips, and by the end of the year, the lineup is amongst the best in baseball, but the pitching is what we thought it was going to be coming into the season?
I wouldn't mind seeing the pitching stay the way it is.
Okay.
Pitching's harder to get than bats, in my opinion.
All right.
I'll take the pitching.
All right. Number two, would you rather? Are you familiar with the concept of testicle tanning?
I heard about it.
Would you rather your boss offers you a 50% raise if you'll go with him once a week for a round of testicle tanning? Or, you know what? I think I'm okay.
Well, where is your boss while yours are getting tanned?
You guys are your buddies. You're next to each other.
No. I'll stay broke.
No, you're good. You're good where you
I'll stay broke.
You're good.
No problem.
And number three, would you rather the Ravens package second, third, and fourth round picks in order to move up ahead of the Giants, get into the top 6, and take one of the top defensive prospects? Or, just stick it out at 14. Somebody's going to fall to him.
14. No need to move.
All right.
We'll get somebody good.
All right. Very good.
Yeah.
Fairways and Greens, Sunday at 12. Please listen, because we need there to be an audience at 1 o'clock for Rita and Glenn.
It's going to be a really good show. And we might even talk a little football.
Wait, why? You're a golf show. You meant soccer, right? Yeah.
Yeah, football.
All right.
As some people call it. As some nutcases call it.
What a weirdo
football.
you are. Fighting with John on Twitter. Drew'sMorningDish.com at It's a Hooded 4-Iron. I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Have a good week.
See you, buddy. Drew Forrester. Drew's Morning Dish checking in with us here on GSR. Imagine that's how you start your day today. You wake up and you're like, I'm going to go fight with this guy because he described soccer as football, which is completely legitimate. I got worries about Drew.
I
man.
think
like,
he
I
should.
think
If he had spelled it with a U, I think I'd have less of an issue with it. But spelling it
would be a single L.
F-O-O.
FUTBOL is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Football.
Yeah, if he spelled it that way, it would be fine. But spelling it like American football.
No, people actually say that, Paul. Soccer fans say that. That's the name of the sport. By the way,
America.
We're the a-holes. Like, we're the ones that think we're better than everybody else, and that we
are.
Well, thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. We are,
especially here on GCR.
No, correct. We're the best. We're the tops, top notch over here. It's top notch.
Best internet radio show going in Baltimore.
Oh boy, what's our competition? I haven't cast my vote yet. I'll decide how I feel about that. So I'm a little bit worried that this is just who Drew's going to be moving forward. That he's just going to be this guy looking for attention on Twitter somehow and fighting with everybody.
I am still so confused by his radio voice. It sounds nothing like him.
What do you mean?
He has a radio voice that he uses on the radio that sounds nothing like the man we just heard.
No, that's not true.
It is.
I called in the other day. I called in last week.
I heard him when they were previewing his show during right before baseball season started, and the voice he was using was not Drew Forrester.
I don't know about that. I'd have to hear
I was
it.
taken aback.
I'd have to hear it. All right, would you rather, number one, pitching stays this way. I mean, unbelievably good all season long. But the bats suck. Never wake up. They're awful. They're atrocious. Historically inept all season long. Or flip it, reverse it, as Missy Elliott might say.
It's so hard because, like Drew said, pitching is so hard to come by. But can you watch 150 more games where your team's scoring 2 runs a game?
I think there's also, by the way, one thing that people aren't thinking about. Like, that would involve Adley Rutschman sucking, too. And all you guys a week ago were going on about how it would not be okay for Adley Rutschman to suck. That you would rather have less wins and be even worse and Adley Rutschman not suck. This scenario involves Adley Rutschman sucking. I'm kind of painting you guys into a corner.
Yeah, no, I'm going to take the offense on this one because I think the pitching's going to come crashing back down anyway, and I would much rather be entertained and see guys dropping bombs rather than have to watch a team lose 3-2 every night. Like
Everyone is saying the pitching. Literally everyone.
I'm taking the
is saying,
offense.
give me the pitching.
I also know who we have coming in the minor leagues, so I think that, and there's always free agency.
Lewis, I love good pitching. I want that to keep being incredible. Paul and Ovielando, I guess I'll take the pitching being incredible because in watching the minor league teams every night, the Orioles have cavalry coming at all levels with the bats. I don't know why we still do this cavalry thing. It's a cavalry. I love you, Paul. Cavalry.
I know one player at Delmarva. I know one player.
What do you mean?
He said.
At every level. Oh yeah.
I know one player.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I'm even thinking. Like, I don't even know what you mean by a cavalry. Adley Rutschman's going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about all of the big time bats that you're flooding the system with.
I
like Kyle Stowers, but presumably I think Kyle Stowers is going to be here this season. So again, he would also suck if that were the case. I think there are other guys, the Kobe Mayos of the world, that could. But the idea that there's a cavalry of bats.
There's a lot of good bats. Hudson Haskins tearing the
I
cover
like
off
Hudson
the ball.
Haskin.
Taryn Vavra, Jordan Westberg,
I
Gunnar
think we're
Henderson,
overselling those, though. I think
Colton Cowser, Connor Norby.
I think you're overselling these guys as being guys that are sure things to be quality major league bats. I think there are guys that are intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are guys that I believe can be, but using the word cavalry to describe them, like, they better be sure things. We're not talking about 3-4 can't miss types of prospects. We're talking about guys that are intriguing, that are hitting well, we can use any kind of combination of words that we want to use to describe them, but they ain't can't miss prospects that we're talking about.
When I look at the game and the body type and just the play of Jordan Westberg and Gunnar Henderson, I see Corey Seager, Trevor Story type players.
Paul, I hope, beyond hope, that you're right about that.
That's what I see.
But
there's no way to know that.
And you're living on an island. The personnel people around baseball are not feeling that way about those guys. They like them. They think they're players, but they're not feeling that way
they're
about
both
them.
basically top 100 prospects.
That's, again, there's a difference between being a thought-of prospect and being this guy is a you're talking about superstar. You're talking about Corey Seager. Like, that's an extraordinarily high level that you're talking about.
I mean, Gunnar Henderson's only 20 years old, and he's a double A.
We're having two different conversations.
Right. I'm just saying that there was a point where Corey Seager wasn't Corey Seager.
I understand.
Where he was Gunnar Henderson.
I understand that, but it would have been unreasonable to say then that we think that that's what Corey Seager is going to be. Nobody's saying they can't become that type of player, but to assume it is nuts. It's bonkers.
I didn't say that they're going to be. I said that's what I see. I see the type of player that they are when I watch their game, when I look at their body type, I see Trevor Story and Corey Seager. I'm not saying that they're going to become those players. Those are just the players that I see when I look at them play.
I think the percentage chance of them becoming that type of player is extraordinarily low, which, again, doesn't mean it can't work out that way. But I think it's extraordinarily low. I like bats in the Orioles system. I think there's talent there. I think assuming that this scenario is Mountcastle sucks this year, Rutschman sucks this year, Mullins sucks this year.
Oh, I don't want that at all. That's why I took
the scenario that we're talking about. And again, some of those guys could bounce back next year. It's not as if 1 year of sucking means they're terrible. In the same way that 1 year of all these pitchers being good does not guarantee that like Bruce Zimmerman is that guy moving forward or anything along those lines. But it's a real detriment to the entirety of the organization to try to put together that lineup and just hope that everybody in the minor league still hits moving forward.
I absolutely think they're going to need to bring in some quality free agent position players. I don't think you can bank on all of your top prospects making it to the major leagues and reaching their ceiling. I think they're going to have to bring in supplemental talent. But
other responses that came in on this one really quickly. Eric, I'd rather pitching is lights out and the bats struggle only because we seem to have some depth in the minors with the bats and not with the arms. I feel more secure with the minor league position players than I do with the pitching. From HIUF. Oh, I just huddle it up. I know this guy. Pitching by the bats later. John, hitting would be more exciting to watch, but I would go with the pitching to win. And to win? I'm telling you, the team's going to be bad. I'm telling you, it's not going to help you win. The team's going to be bad in either scenario. It's just that in one scenario they're bad because of what we're seeing right now, great pitching, utterly inept offense. In the other scenario they're bad because they're scoring a ton of runs, but they're giving up 12 a game, something along those lines. Neither of it results in winning. Not now, maybe down the road.
I also saw the 96 Orioles score almost 1,000 runs.
They did do that.
And make the playoffs, even though their pitching staff as a whole had an ERA over 5.
Right, but I'm telling you, they're not going to make the playoffs in this scenario. I'm giving either scenario.
Yeah,
the team stinks.
Your scenario
team stinks. You're taking one or the other because you're thinking about what it means moving forward. What's better for the organization moving forward. I can't believe how many of you said I can't take a scenario where Adley Rutschman stinks, and then you're turning around and saying I'll take this scenario. It's weird.
I want the offense to be
weird to me. All right, number 2. Would you rather? Great news. Your boss is going to give you a 50% raise, but it means that you and your boss taking a weekly date to go testicle tanning together. Or nope, no, I'm good. I'll just a simple pass.
All right, so if you look at my scenario,
Uh-huh.
I have 2 jobs, and one I work for Pressbox.
Right.
And
But that's
two-
not your. This isn't your full time job.
Yeah, I know, and 2, I am a waiter in a restaurant
Right.
where I make all my money off of tips.
No,
Have you ever got?
You're trying to Kyle this up now. You're trying to Kyle it up.
Have you ever gotten? What I'm saying is a 50% raise isn't much in either scenario.
No.
So,
You're trying. I'm saying you're going to make 50% more. So in your scenario, it's 50% more tips. Like you're trying to Kyle it up.
Okay, 50%
I'm
more
saying
tips.
stop trying to be cute. You're going to have 50% more money than you had last year. You're going to make 50% more money than that.
I'm not trying to be cute. I just
No.
misunderstood this
No, but
this
you-
situation.
but you
I thought you were
don't-
talking about what my boss pays me.
No, that's
is different.
You're diving in too far on it. You're getting 50% more money.
Okay.
What it means is you got to go testicle tanning with your boss once a week.
Once a week. Have you ever had a sunburn on your testicles?
I had no, I don't believe I have, Paul.
Neither have
Don't
I. And
believe
I don't ever want to know what that feels like. So I'm good where I am.
Yeah. So I had a couple people ask some specific questions about this. Someone said, "Do I have to see him in action?" Not necessarily, but you're going together, and I would almost describe it like imagine you're going to work out together. You're going to be in the locker room together. You're going to see things. Like, you might not purposely do it. It might not be that your boss is going to go wave it right in front of you, but it's going to happen.
Are you standing
You're
behind
going-
individual walls with glory holes
Paul,
that your balls go through?
I got to be honest with you. I've never been. I don't know. Although I did offer to take, as my welcome gift to everybody at 105.7, I offered to take the whole staff out for a round. I told Jeremy, I'm like, hey, man, you can go organize it with everybody. I'll take everybody out for the first round. Round of testicle tanning is on me.
Jerry Coleman first in line.
I haven't heard back. I haven't gotten any responses from anyone about my. I thought it was a kind offer, as a bonding activity. Hey, man, get to know everybody. Let's all go out for a nice round of tanning our testicles
Let's
together.
toast your testes.
That's what I thought. I thought it'd be a nice thing to do. Somebody said, "Well, can Rita go?" Absolutely, Rita can come along with us.
I don't know what
are
the
you talking
equivalent would
about?
be.
I don't know. I'd have no
Let's not
idea
even
what it
get
would be.
the- get into that.
Don't know what that would be. Responses on this one from M. Smith. I'll take 50% and some bronze jewels. Huddle It Up says, I'm good, bro. Money isn't everything. Bro. This one's the one he said, bro. Not sure. Did I put that? Maybe I put that in the scenario. I don't remember. Brian, I hope the wifey appreciates the tan on the jewels as much as she'll appreciate the raise. From Dave. Dave says, Glenn, I like my boss. We get along quite well. I would prefer to keep it that way. I'm going to pass. I don't understand. You and the boss going out once a week? It's like going out for beers. You're just going out for a nice tan on your testes. I don't understand. Why would that cause problems between you and your boss? You just go out, have a nice chat, get yourself some, improve your testosterone, I'm told. You'll be more jacked up. Maybe later you can go to a rage room and smash some S. I don't know.
Go ask John to go with you and see if he wants to hold hands while it happens.
He's got his door closed. Oh, he appears to be on a call.
Yeah, he's probably trying to figure his way out of this. It's like Glenn's gonna ask me
I
to go
was
testicle
gonna have
tanning.
him come back here, and I was gonna present this scenario. I was gonna see if I could present it for him with Stan. I was gonna say, hey, I know Stan's not technically your boss, but let's just say that was the case. All right, number 3. Would you rather the Ravens load up, use second, third, fourth round picks all to move up ahead of the Giants, get into the top 6? Take one of the reasonable. So I'm not giving you Aiden Hutchinson or Trayvon Walker because I think those guys are top 3 picks. But any of the next group of guys, Sauce Gardner, Kayvon Thibodeau, or if
Jermaine
you
Johnson.
have to move up to get Jermaine Johnson, there are people that think he could fall, but there are other people that think that he could be in play for the Giants at 7. So you get your choice of any of those players by moving up, or sit it out, I'll wait, take whatever's left at 14.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay where I'm at 14. You can get a good player at 14. You're still picking the top half of the draft, and you can get good players in the second, third, and fourth round. And I don't think it's worth mortgaging that much of your draft for one player who still might not. Does this say can't miss? It doesn't say that they can't miss. It's just top prospects. So I
mean, nobody's can't miss. It's a draft.
Right.
Like, I can't guarantee that anybody's going to pan out.
Right. I'm going to stand pat. I think I have a better shot with 4 picks than I do with 1.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. Just as I go back to the value of, like, the 4th-round picks, I can't tell you. From Lawrence, see what happens and move up a few spots if the player you really like is still there. Well, that's the Lauren. I love you. I actually don't know Lauren. That's what I'm telling you is the scenario that a guy that you love is sitting there at 7 or at 6, and you have the opportunity to move up and get that guy. If you love him, if you say I don't love those guys all that much, then you're probably not going to do it. Brian, hold the picks. Apparently, this draft is loaded with talent in the mid rounds. I'm gonna bang my head in the desk again if I hear about how much talent is in the mid rounds of the draft. We just want to show us how smart. We're so smart. We're all so smart, and we're very good looking, and we're very special baby boys. We're all very precious, and we can all sleep in mommy and daddy's room tonight. I promise you. Get the best players. If they were that good, they would probably be talked about a bit higher in the draft. It's not. There aren't 150 rock star players in this draft, which doesn't mean there won't be some in the 4th round that won't end up being better than players that were taken in the 1st round. And I like getting talent everywhere, but improving my odds of getting the top guy. By the way, the answer for me is easy. I'm absolutely moving up. Specifically with Sauce Gardner. Like, I'm moving up and taking the top cornerback in the draft. I'm taking the guy that didn't allow a single touchdown in his collegiate career. 1. Did not allow 1 in his collegiate career. I'm moving up, and I'm getting that guy. And if ultimately that's not what the Ravens do, that's quite fine. I hope they find a rock star player not only at 14, but in every round thereafter. I hope that proves to be the case. But me, personally, I'm getting the dude. And I think it's the thing that I have said a few times in recent years is most missing with this Ravens roster is it's a roster made of good players, but that lacks in the transcendent special department. There's, of course, Lamar Jackson. I think Mark Andrews has moved himself into that territory, or if not, is damn close. He's on the edge of that territory. Like, is he Travis Kelce? Is he George Kittle? Maybe not, but he's damn close to that.
He's better than both of them last year.
Yeah, I mean, but the injury had something to do. I mean, George Kittle was hurt, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's athletically, those guys are a bit more freaks than Mark Andrews is, but he's in that range. He's close to that conversation. And who else? We thought Marlon Humphrey was in that conversation, but he sure as F wasn't a year ago. Who else? Who else is in the truly special? Clearly your kicker. That's not a football player.
Nobody's there, but I still believe J.K. Dobbins can be.
I mean, maybe.
I love J.K. Dobbins.
I like J.K. Dobbins too, but he was also responsible for a season-turning whiff in the Buffalo game 2 years ago. I understand that, but like it's all part of the story. I got to see that he's a better blocker this year. I'm not trying to compare him to Kenneth Dixon. He's not a guy that's so woeful he's going to get somebody killed, but he's got to get better as a blocker. He's got to prove that, or else he's not going to be on the field as much as we want to have J.K. Dobbins be on the field. They are missing game-changing talent. They have a lot of good, solid football players. They're missing game changers, wreckers, guys that go out and win football games on their own. And I am for adding more of those players to this roster. The Rams had Cooper Kupp on one side and Aaron Donald on the other side and said we could still try to use some more of that. I'm for having more game changers. Pure, complete difference makers. No offense to all the 4th-round picks. I don't think you're finding that guy there. But you might find him by moving up, so I'd be doing that. Continue to get me your responses for Would You Rather Wednesday. It is brought to you by Glory Days Grill, where the spring seasonal menu is available. Has so many wonderful things. The starter, of course, being the pork belly, flash fried pork belly with the Korean No. 2 sauce. That's your opener. Can't wait. Also, the Crunch Burger topped with home run sauce, white American cheese, and house-made chips. Glory Days Grill, glorydaysgrill.com in order to get your order in. And again, somebody's winning a $25 gift card to Glory Days Grill just for participating in Would You Rather Wednesday. When we come back in, we'll get Tidbit, we'll get Tubular to wind things down for a Friday edition. What am I doing? God.
It's Wednesday.
What the hell is going on?
Your brain's just flooded with all the stuff you got to do, that's all.
Ukrainian ping pong. It's a good night for me. I might bet Ukrainian
5 for 5.
Might bet Ukrainian ping pong more often. Oh boy, it's a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Luke Jackson profiles Orioles catcher Adley Rutschman, diving into where his passion for baseball and for catching comes from and how he uses that passion to elevate those around him in the Orioles organization. Also inside, Bo Smolka takes a look at how the Ravens' 2021 draft picks can make progress in year 2, and Glenn Clark offers a very unique tribute to former rival Mike Krzyzewski that all Maryland fans can appreciate. Press Box is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores, and you can always find the entire edition, as well as the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
That first sip. That first bite. Start your day off right with a delicious breakfast at Royal Farms. Choose from a fantastic selection of fresh Royal Farms breakfast sandwiches and top it off with a rich hot cup of the freshest coffee in the world. At Royal Farms, breakfast is available day and night. It's the freshest breakfast in the world. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Answering Baltimore's calls for help, running in when others run away, working together toward one shared vision for a thriving city. That's your Baltimore Police. But the department needs more good people, people like you. Join a proud new generation of Baltimore Police and make an active difference in your community. Start with competitive wages and excellent benefits on day one. Join for good at bpdrecruit.org.
Sports betting has come to Maryland, and we're ready to help you win some money. Tune in for Simply the Bets with Glenn Clark and Paul Valley every Tuesday morning at 11:40. FanDuel Sportsbook GM Bruce Billick and VSiN's Aaron Oster join the guys every week to give you all of the info you need and even a few winners. So come win some money with us on Simply the Bets every Tuesday at 11:40 a.m. Brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. Listen at PressBoxOnline.com/radio. Watch at YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline.
Baseball is back, and so is the spring seasonal menu at Glory Days Grill. Start with the opener, flash-fried pork belly with our popular Korean No. 2 sauce, and take a bite out of the Crunch Burger, topped with home run sauce, white American cheese, and house-made chips. It also features irresistible options like a baseball-cut sirloin with blue cheese, grilled shrimp with garlic butter, and a strawberry salmon salad. And then there's the closer, the Cracker Jack Sundae with a waffle, ice cream, and Cracker Jacks. This menu will be gone at your neighborhood Glory Days Grill. GloryDaysGrill.com to find out more. Great food, good sports.
We can't imagine why you'd want to, but you can watch GCR live. It's at Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. And try to guess whether these guys are wearing any pants.
All right, winding down for a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Today's show has also been brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. That's where the NFL chick, Sarita Hubbard, and I will be coming up next Thursday night for the first round of the NFL Draft. We hope that you will come join us. The best live betting night of the year. Bet every pick at one of their 61 self-service kiosks. Plus, we'll have great giveaways for you. It's going to be the spot to be for the NFL Draft. Come hang out with Rita and I in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. As we wind down, it's time for us to get a tidbit of the day. Tidbit of the day is brought to you by PressBox's betting show. Speaking of the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. Yesterday, we had a weekly, we do every Tuesday, Simply the Bets. And then tomorrow, it'll be the return of Weekend at Bookies. We hope that you will join us 11:40 a.m. tomorrow for Weekend at Bookies. And if you missed it yesterday, you can find that show wherever you get video, facebook.com/PressBoxSports, youtube.com/PressBoxOnline, PressBoxOnline.com/video. It's all there. Do it every Tuesday, every other Thursday, special betting shows to help you try to win some money in partnership with the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel.
All right, so the surprise of the Orioles season has been the pitching. The team as a whole has pitched to a 2.81 ERA, good for fifth best in the majors. And while the attention has gone mostly to the bullpen and their 2.66 ERA, the rotation has quietly put together a nice little stretch to start the season, pitching to a 2.98 ERA as a unit. The issue there is that they've only thrown 45 1/3 innings, just over 4 innings per start, a trend that will inevitably tax the bullpen. Since 2001, the first season since 92 without Mike Mussina, or actually 91 without Mike Mussina, 5 pitchers have tallied 200 innings pitched in a season for a total of 8 times overall. Who are those 5 pitchers?
Say that one more time.
So 5 pitchers since 2001 for the Orioles have logged 200-inning seasons, and it's amounted to 8 times, 8 occurrences.
Since 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Rodrigo Lopez.
He did it once. In 2005, he threw 209 1/3 innings.
Chris Tillman.
Chris Tillman did it twice. He did it in 2013 when he threw 206 1/3 innings, and 2014 when he threw 207 1/3 innings.
Wei-Yin Chen.
No, you were close. He had like 192.
Miguel Gonzalez.
No. He never really made more than like 23, 24 starts in a year.
Since 2001.
I'll give you a hint. Nobody did it in that season, 2002 or 2003.
Wow. Well, now I know that. I got that to work with. The funny thing is, like, what you'll think about Bedard, then you think about the fact that Bedard only pitched 5 innings per start, but
it's not Bedard.
All right. He never worked into games at all.
He never wanted to.
He pulled himself, correct. Yeah. He would just take himself right out of these games. You want to say John Means, but he's dealt with injuries, so I don't think it's John Means. Since 2000, boy, my God. So since 2004, you're saying, really, is what I'm working with. Since 2004. Somehow it was Daniel Cabrera.
204 1/3 innings in 2006.
Sure.
With his 5.5 ERA that year.
I'm thinking it's somebody like it's like Jason Hamill.
No. He got hurt a lot too.
It's God, I'm trying to remember what years certain guys were here. It's Kevin Millwood.
No, he was so bad.
Bro, who are you're telling me like these guys are going to be good. There's not good pitching options.
These guys were serviceable.
You're
this guy
using the
did it
word
3
serviceable.
times.
Sidney Ponzone?
Sidney Ponzone did it once. In 2004, he threw 215 2/3 innings. The last guy did it 3 times, 3 years in a row, and he was considered the staff ace.
He was considered the staff ace.
3
years in a row.
There's a hint I could give you, but you would get it with the hint.
Hang on a second. Wait a second. He did it 3 years in a row. He's considered the staff ace. I'm actually struggling with this.
He was traded for one of the guys you already mentioned, who's not on the list. You missed with him, but you mentioned the guy that he was traded for.
I don't remember who I guessed. He was traded for... Oh, it's Jeremy Guthrie, right?
It's Jeremy Guthrie.
Jeremy Guthrie, yeah.
200 innings in 2009, 209 in the third in 2010, and 208 in 2011.
I don't know why I blanked on Jeremy. I like Jeremy. Jeremy's a good
These
dude.
hoes ain't loyal.
Well, these O's ain't royal.
I know,
Get it right.
Get
it right.
No, I knew it. I just
Get
didn't
it
wanna say
right.
These O's ain't royal is what it was. You get it right.
That's what I said.
You said loyal.
No, I said these O's ain't royal.
Well, then damn
That's
it,
what I said. That was the shirt he wore. Join a proud new generation of Baltimore police. Make an active difference in your community. Start with competitive wages and excellent benefits on day one. Join for good, bpdrecruit.org. Here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular-wise. Orioles, again, the game was moved to 6 o'clock. To my understanding, still on MASN 2, Jordan Lyles and Dalton Jeffries, whatever that is. But it'll probably shut down the Orioles. If you happen to live in the Dallas or Seattle markets, good news. You can watch it on MLB Network as well. MASN, Diamondbacks, Nationals at 7, MLB Network, Braves, Dodgers at 3, Giants, Mets at 7, Rangers, Mariners at 10. Stevenson Lacrosse has Lebanon Valley tonight at 7. Go MustangSports.tv. TNT NBA playoffs, again, weird bit. All Eastern Conference games tonight. TNT Nets Celtics game 2 at 7. Bulls Bucks game 2 at 9:30. NBA TV Sixers Raptors game 3 at 8 from Toronto. NBC Sports Washington Capitals Golden Knights at 10. NHL Network Stars Oilers at 8:30. The USA Network for Chelsea and Arsenal this afternoon at 2:45. TBS for AEW Dynamite at 8. Non-sports.
Nicolas Cage has been welcomed back onto Jimmy Kimmel Live. That's high praise.
Was he banned?
I don't know. Has he been on any talk shows recently with the awful stuff that he's been doing?
What awful stuff has he been doing?
The awful movies.
No, the awful movies he's been making? I don't know. He's still Nicolas Cage at the end of the day. It wouldn't surprise me if he still was able to go and do late-night shows.
What's the name of that movie that's coming out?
Massive Weight of Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent or something. It's getting rave reviews.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to have Nicolas Cage become your best friend. That's pretty cool.
I like the premise. Everything about it works for me.
Yeah.
Everything about it.
Marlon Wayans. I don't know what the hell he's up to, but he's going to be on the Tonight Show featuring Jimmy Fallon.
Hey, John, come here. Yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
Moon Knight episode 4 on Disney Plus.
Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is what it's called.
And then stuff and things.
It's got
on the CW, Freddie Mercury, the final act at 8 o'clock.
Oh, okay. 93%, by the way, on Rotten Tomatoes for this film. Sit down for a second.
The commercial said 100%.
Sit down for a second. Well, they lied. They lied then. They lied.
I do real work, so I have no idea.
It's Would You Rather Wednesday.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna alter this question for you. You can make 50% more next year, all right? Like, then you made this, then you were set to me. You're going to make 50% more if you go once a week with Stan the Fan Charles to go testicle tanning. You and he.
I have a couple clarifying questions.
Yes, this is important, I'm sure.
Do we have to
You're gonna sit next to each other.
Is there a divider of some sort?
I'm not really sure. I haven't been. I don't know. You're going to have to make your decision not knowing.
I'm concerned about COVID.
Ah, right. That's probably what it is that you're nervous about. It's the COVID situation. I can understand that. Yeah.
And Stan's very nervous.
Well, you're going to have to make that decision without knowing the answer to that question.
50% more.
50% more, but you got to go once a week. You and Stan go testicle tanning together. All right, very good.
And I'll tell you why. How's that any different from going to the sauna at the gym?
It's a fair question. It's a reasonable question. But do you do that once a week?
No, but for a 50% increase, well,
you'd sit in the sauna together.
Can I get a 50% increase on what I earned pre-COVID?
No, 50% on this year. 50% on this year. Yeah.
And I think in a sauna you're wearing a towel. I think to tan your testicles, they got to be out there.
It's going to be hard to tan through the towel, no doubt. Yeah, but not everybody wears the towel. There are quite a few people that are.
I won't go in there. There's a dude
very comfortable with not
I switched
wearing
gyms back
a towel.
because of how many guys didn't wear towels at the gym. That
I will say my new gym. Are we talking about them yet, or is that
no? But you can mention them. What the heck?
My new gym is One Life Fitness up in Hunt Valley, and people there are not as comfortable as my previous establishment was. My last establishment,
all the racquetball players,
very comfortable. They were very comfortable with just hanging out. In fact, starting a conversation with you. 100%. I would forever. Meadow Mill was
great gym,
just the most wonderful place. And almost like the atmosphere there,
family-like,
exactly, made it so
creepy family-like.
People were very comfortable just walking around the locker room, chatting,
so there was
completely
one
buck
guy
naked.
There that really made me so uncomfortable because what he would do was he'd
put
in the
his
sauna. Hold on, he'd get in the sauna, then he'd shower. Then he'd walk to the middle of the locker room, and they had one of those giant fans. And he'd crank it up to full blast and air dry himself standing right in the middle of the locker room without a stitch of clothing on. And it was it was disturbing on a number of levels. Visually, it was disturbing. Psychologically, it was upsetting.
Correct.
But then I also had a germophobic thing about it.
Oh,
he was essentially releasing every skin flake and blowing it across the locker room.
But in fairness, you're at a gym, man. Like
he's
launching it. There's a
Because
difference.
you're saying, all right,
He's
I guess I understand what you're saying. I guess I do. I think
This thing was like a wind tunnel. This wasn't a gentle breeze.
I remember the fan. I promise you, I remember the fan. I think you're being a bit over dramatic about the launching of.
I'd feel
He
the
was a
same
hairy
way.
guy. I
Ugh.
didn't like it.
Oh, I do think I remember who you're
Like
talking
the guy
about.
from Along
There-
Came Polly when they're playing
basketball. And you get
Ugh.
right up
Maybe
there.
that.
There was a.
This was a hairy.
There was a gentleman who was comfortable, literally sitting. There was a TV in the locker room, and this gentleman would sit around, would lounge,
And watch tennis.
naked on a chair. There was one chair in the locker room. He would sit down completely
No
naked on the
towel.
chair
No
and just
towel.
watch the television in the
was-
corner. There was another gentleman who was absolutely the guy that would go up to he would walk up to you naked to start the conversation, or would start a conversation with you while he was naked. He wouldn't have to walk up to you because it's close quarters. And then all of a sudden you turn around and he would 1,000% have his other leg up on the bench.
Oh, yeah.
So he would do the bit where he has one leg on the floor and one leg on the bench, and it's just all.
It was
It's
a
just
sight
a
from behind.
It's a
Had a little
present.
captain in him.
It's exactly right. It's
And he
very
was-
much like
well,
that.
he was an older gentleman too, so
They're all older gentlemen.
so they
The-
swing around.
the gym that I was
where
was
we
at
were.
briefly
No.
before I
No.
went back to where I am now. There was one guy who the only time I saw him wearing clothes would be when he would walk into the gym, like when he would walk in
Yeah.
from the outside. And I would have an hour and a half, 2 hour workout and go. He'd be naked when I left the locker room to work.
Oh,
to work
there's
out,
plenty
and
of-
I'd
plenty
go
of
back
those.
into the locker room
It's just-
2 hours later, and he's still there naked.
It's just where they hang. That's where they hang for the day in order to
He's
try
never
to.
wearing
It's
clothes.
what they do.
Have you figured out draft night yet?
Well, I know Rita and I are going to be at the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel.
And
Still got some working on some issues there.
Okay.
Working on some issues.
Okay.
Can't tell you if there's, but I know Rita and I will be in the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. That's what I know for sure, and that's where everybody else should be.
We will be giving away.
Oh.
We will be giving away
Oh.
4 seats.
Oh.
To the FanDuel Sportsbook with food and beverage and tip and all that included.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we should probably do that soon.
We should do. I just found out moments.
We're doing that for the draft.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I'm calling Jen right after this.
Oh man.
We're going to arrange.
So
an
you're
entry
saying
page.
that there will be 4 people, one winner.
One winner for 4.
For a group of 4 to come and hang out in the FanDuel Sportsbook.
The table.
Next Thursday night.
Food and drink.
Food and drink covered.
For the first round of the NFL draft.
But maybe just a drink. Just one drink.
As many as they can reasonably and safely consume, including soft drinks and.
Well, I mean that's
they
what
want
that's
Uber. They
yeah,
can do whatever they
that's
want.
That's a hell of a deal.
that seems like a wonderful prize. It seems like
several $100s.
All
I would
right.
think.
Most establishments like
We
that
should
make their money
you're
off
going to
liquor.
give them each a few bucks to gamble with.
What? What are we doing?
We're doing a little thing where it's like spend Glenn's money.
What the hell?
Like Terry Bradshaw.
Wait a second.
It is.
Wait a second.
The number's a little low.
You gotta give him $1 million.
They got a better chance of winning than Glenn than I do. Except unless I bet Ukrainian ping pong. I'm killing it in Ukrainian ping pong. I had a rough night
Wait
last
a minute.
night. I had a rough
I
night.
bet on ping pong like a year ago on that site that
Yeah.
shouldn't go named.
Yeah, we don't use that site.
Yeah.
We're FanDuel guys now. That's what we are. FanDuel Sportsbook guys.
Yeah.
But I was betting last night on Ukrainian ping pong because I lost I lost a Suns related bet because Devin Booker got hurt. That was particularly
yeah.
it stung, and I wanted my money back. And there's only so many things you can bet on at that point of the night. And so I bet on the last couple of baseball games of the evening. I bet on a AAA baseball game to end the evening. And then the last thing that was going on before I went to bed was Ukrainian ping pong. And so I bet on 5 Ukrainian ping pong matches, 5 for 5, baby.
Lost
Big
them all?
night. No, I won them
Oh,
all.
I thought you were being.
No, but I was doing the wacky bit where I was betting.
Guessing.
No, I was whoever won the first set. I just bet on them.
Oh, okay.
And then I was getting terrible odds, but I was peeling them all off.
Yeah,
It was
that's how you
5
do
straight wins in order to needed some money back, man. I needed to get it back. All right.
Don't worry, it's not a day.
So you'll have details for me about that?
Within the hour.
All right. Looking forward to that.
Okay.
That's a great prize.
It is a great prize.
Enjoy your testicle tanning.
Bye.
Oh, you said no. You're gonna pass or you're gonna.
No, I'll go ahead and do
All
that.
right, I'll go ahead. I'll get it scheduled. Then.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and make that happen.
Bye.
For you.
Enjoy yourself.
John Colson, most worshipful grandmaster. All right. Did you get through non-sports? You did. You finished all non-sports. Very good. Thanks today to Thomas Booker from Stanford, Gilman alum, NFL draft prospect. Thanks also to Gunnar Henderson as well as to Drew. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the
Archives.
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow on the program, I have no idea. Do we have anything? I don't even know if we have anything booked for tomorrow. We should probably work on that.
Not just yet.
Oh, Jesus
Stuff and
Christ.
things tomorrow.
We gotta step our game up a little bit. Damn. All right, we'll have stuff. I hope we will. I think maybe Bucky Brooks is joining us. I don't even know if that's true. God, we gotta figure some things out. What the hell's going on around here? Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Glory Days Grill, Royal Farms, the Baltimore Police, Grade 8's memorabilia, the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Paul at Paul Valley III on Twitter. Thanks to Ryan at RexSpecs Ryan. Follow us at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter and Instagram. Have a great Wednesday evening. Go Birds, sure. Duke sucks. Ohio State sucks too.